This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, and welcome to a tumultuous-looking sunset safari. Now, my name is Jamie. This afternoon, Darby is on camera with me, and we're coming to you live from Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. Remember, you can send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter, alternatively in the comments section of YouTube. But first, before we get to that, a very warm welcome to North Landing Elementary, Shelton Park and Parkway Elementary Schools. I hope you guys are really excited to go out on safari. Now, where you are, it is the morning. Your day is just starting. But here where I am in South Africa, it is actually going into the afternoon. And it is blisteringly hot. It is really hot. It's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit here. So we are all sweating a little bit. So if you notice us glowing slightly, it's because it's really warm as the storm approaches, because it is midsummer here in Djuma. Right, now we're going to go and look for all sorts of exciting animals on safari, so hold on tight. I want you to imagine that you're on the back of the vehicle with me. So we're going over big bumps. You've got to hold on to make sure that you don't fall off. Now, it's not just myself out here. There's someone that you haven't met. Her name is Lauren, and she has found the very first animal of the afternoon. Let's go find out what it is.
Everybody watching from all corners of the world. Ahead of us on this very hot day today, we have a herd of impala. Now, impala is a different type of antelope. So I better introduce myself first. I'm Lauren, and I'm not an antelope, but these are antelope. And we have a cameraman with us today called Senzo. So going back to these animals here, they are very numerous around this area. There's lots and lots of them around, but these ones are boys. And we know that they're boys because they have horns on their head. So you can see that they've got the big horns sticking up, and that means they're boys. The females do not have the horns. So it's a very easy way for us to tell the difference between boys and girls. Now, they must be feeling the heat today as well because it's extremely hot. So you can see most of them are hiding in the shade underneath the trees. Now, impalas are very fast. So whenever they get scared or something comes, they will run away. Sorry, can you repeat that question? I didn't manage to get that question, but I'm sure it will come through again. Grayson. It is very hot today, but no, it's not always hot. The weather does change around here. There is a summer and there's a winter. When I first arrived here in October, it was very chilly. I was really cold. We were wearing hats and jackets and long trousers, and now it's hit summer. And this is a time when it's really hot. But it doesn't snow here. It does snow in my home country of Scotland, but not out here in South Africa in the Kruger National Park. So I'm sure the animals do love it when it's a little bit warmer, but I think they will also feel very hot today. And these impalas here also need to drink water. And luckily there's lots and lots of water around. Hayden, what a good question. Where do the animals go when bad weather comes? Well, Animals, if it's really, really, really windy and stormy, sometimes they will head into open areas. And I know that sounds really crazy. You would think that they would hide, but they need to stay safe from predators. So sometimes when there's a storm brewing with strong winds, they will head into a big open area with not much trees or bushes, and this means that they can see anything that might come at them. They will huddle together, and if it's really chilly, they will get goosebumps, or I like to call them shivery pops, just like we do, where the hairs will stand on end, and that just keeps them a little bit warmer. You can see one of them's having a really good look at us right now. Hello. You can see how beautiful they are with very large eyes. Do they fight people? Bite people, sorry. No, they do not. They're very skittish. So if we were to get out the car right now and walk towards them, which we're not going to do, they would run away. They don't bite people, but I think they do have quite a fierce bite. They are able to bite the grass and the shrubs that they're eating, and they do have teeth. So I can imagine if they were to bite you, it would be painful, but luckily they don't. And lambing season was not too long ago, so there's lots of little baby impalas around. But unfortunately, this is a boys' herd. This is all the boys together, so we can't see any mums or babies with them. Oh, they got a fright. Did you see them? They heard something and got a fright. They're very alert animals, always alert to danger that could be around. Oh, so we're going to have a little look at what these impalas got scared at, but for now, we're going to send you all the way up to Kenya to my friend David, who has some big cats for you.
Hello, boys and girls of North Landing Elementary School, and it's very wonderful to have you joining us today. We are in the Mara Triangle and in a very different country called Kenya, and you're very lucky to start with the lioness that's lying on the top of mountain. My name is David, and coming with me today is Archie. How is everybody doing? How is the new year? We're very excited to have you on board, and as my friends told you, questions, comments are more than welcome. Please keep sending them over. We'll be very happy to keep talking to you. All right, you're very lucky to start with the lioness that's lying on a Taman Mound, and we want to find out why she is lying there. Two reasons. Number one, she is trying to get some warmth because it'll be a bit chilly. And number two, as you can see, she has a vantage point to look around and see what could be happening. Maybe looking for an antelope. Number three, there's a possibility, if you look carefully there, there's a small burrow or a small den, and maybe there's someone who lives there, and I'm guessing maybe a warthog. So if that warthog comes out and that lioness will see it, she's definitely going to jump on it, and she's going to have some dinner. Well, in Kenya, as I said, a different country from South Africa. We are further north, and it's much cooler than it is in South Africa. We are 28 degrees Celsius and 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'll ask you to tell me through your teachers what temperatures you got. As we have agreed, questions and comments are very welcome, and your teachers will know how to do that. Now, we know our lionesses very well, and this particular pride here, it comes from a particular group that we call Olololo. So when we have groups of lions, we usually say a pride. So this particular individual comes from a pride that is called Olololo. And much later on, I'll be explaining to you what is Olololo and where we normally see them. Now, very happy to have talked to you, boys and girls. We'll take you back to South Africa, to my friend Jamie, who is driving and will tell you more about Africa.
So exciting things to find on safari. Now, I am driving down one of the main roads of the reserve, and the reason that I'm doing that is because I heard that there was not one but 2 leopards coming in this direction. I actually saw one of them this morning, and he is one of our absolutely favorite leopards. His name is Hosanna, and it is nearly Hosanna's birthday. He turns 3 years old in February. So what we're doing is we're checking very carefully, because we have to look at all sorts of different clues out here to find animals. One of those clues is the footprints that they leave behind on the soil. So on this road it's quite difficult, because lots of vehicles drive up and down here, because people can come on safari, so they use this road a lot. And all the other animals are hiding from me. I don't know where they've all gone. They've decided that they don't want to be on camera. So we're going to check really carefully. I'm not going to stay on this road for too long. Now McKenna wants to know what the most dangerous animal is on safari. Well, it really depends on if you are in a vehicle like this or if you are out on foot. Now, all of the wild animals here, even the antelope, could be potentially dangerous because they're very, very strong. So we treat them all as wild animals and we treat them with respect. But there are certain animals that can be more dangerous than others. One is a hippopotamus, which is responsible for most of the injuries in Africa, so by a wild animal. And the reason for that is partly because people build their homes on rivers. They build their homes where there's water, and as a result they're constantly bumping into hippopotamus, and a hippopotamus feels more safe in the water, so they get quite angry and scared when they see people and they're not near the water, and as a result they can hurt people. Elephants can also be quite dangerous, and buffalo. A buffalo is a massive animal. It's kind of similar to a bison, not quite. If we see one, then I'll show you what they look like. It's not quite the same as a bison, but they are really big and they can be very dangerous because they're quite short-tempered. They're grumpy. They don't really like seeing people, particularly on foot. So those are the animals that we are the most aware of. But remember, because these are wild animals, all of them can be potentially dangerous. And even an animal like Hosanna, who I've known since he was this big, he was just a tiny little leopard cub, could potentially be dangerous to me now. He's much bigger and he's much, much stronger and faster than I am. Luckily, most of the animals here are completely relaxed with cars. They're used to seeing people on safari, so they're not dangerous to us. Now, I know that when you go out on safari, there's a couple of animals that you really want to see. One of them is a lion, and even though I haven't managed to find one here, David up in the Masai Mara has. So let's go and have a look.
Yes, Jamie, having talked about buffaloes, and should be happy to hear of news of lions. We already got one, but initially I was talking to you about a place called Olololo, and I told you that one lioness belongs to a pride that we call Olololo. So that escarpment you see in the background there, that is the escarpment that's called Olololo. And I'm sure all of you can say Olololo after me. Olololo, say that again. Very good, boys and girls. So that's the escarpment that's called Olololo, and it's the escarpment that gave this particular pride that name, because they always tend to hang around this area. They never go very far. So we would make joke and say, have you seen lions? Yes. Where are they? Near the Olololo escarpment. Near Olololo escarpment. So that's how they ended up being called Olololo. Kate, how are you today? And you're the very first one to ask me a question. Well done, Kate. Now, your question is, how many females are in this particular pride? Number one, Kate, I'll tell you, this is the largest pride of lions that we got in our area, because when they are together, they are 16. Now, the fully grown females, what I'm sure you know, females call them lionesses, there are 4 in this particular group. And we think, Kate, that one there has some cubs, have small baby lions somewhere. She's hiding them somewhere. I saw them 2 days ago, but today I have not seen them. So in this particular pride, There are 4 females, and then there are a few youngsters, both boys and girls, but Kate in total, they are 16. So most likely what she's doing there is waiting for something to come out of that termite mound, and as I said, it could be a warthog. Just see, boys and girls, how green it is. It is so green because we have been having short rains in Kenya. The same case with Juma, but ours normally come around November, December, and they just stopped. Edith, good, and you'd like to know how much lions weigh. Now, the fully grown girls, like that one you see there, could be anywhere close to 200 kilos. Let's talk about 400 pounds, all right? That's the fully grown ones. You see that one there? She is a big mama. Now, some boys that are very heavy, when we give them on the higher side, we usually say they could be 230, 240 kilos, or almost 500 pounds. Can you imagine? So I want to tell you that one lioness is heavier than each one of you in the class. How wonderful is that? Even it's heavier than me. So I might look big as you can see me, but when you lift that lioness, I can't lift it like that because it's very, very heavy. All right, boys and girls, it's not bad to see lions, and I'm sure we have had a good start. So what we'll do, we'll move on and see whether they can get more animals. And I'll tell you, in Africa, there are animals that we call the big 5, and my friend Lauren has one of them.
Yes, we did have some impala, now we have some elephants. It's been a very lucky drive so far. So here we just have 3 elephants that were just at the side of the road. A female, a young male, and another much younger one. You see that small one there? That we could estimate to be maybe between 6 to 8 years old, but it is very difficult to age elephants. And you can see that they're flapping their ears there. Every single one of them is flapping their ears back and forth. Now this is because it is very, very hot, and this is their way of cooling down. They have huge ears, and by flapping them, it helps to cool them down in the heat. If only we could do that. And you can see they're all just feeding. They're just casually eating as they're going through their day, all the vegetation that's in front of us. You see this one is eating some grass. Yummy. What do we do when an animal gets hurt? That's a very difficult question. It's an interesting question because it's very hard to see an animal get hurt. It's not easy for anybody when the animal is injured or sick. But here at SafariLive, we are just observers. We are just watching. It's not our place to interfere with the animals. They are going about their daily lives here. This is their environment, and we are just watching them every day. So we don't do anything. The animals will just continue to go about their everyday life. But very good question. You can even hear the branches of the trees breaking as the elephants snap them off. Why do elephants have a tail? I actually am not sure why elephants have a tail. Another interesting question of the day. Lots of animals out here have a tail, to be honest, including lions, leopards, cats. A lot of them use it for balance. That's a good question from Carson. But you can see the elephants moving their tail back and forward here, swishing it. You see that one? Perfect. We've got a great view of that. And that's actually just swishing away all the flies and annoying things, insects that are landing on its bottom. So that's what it's doing by swishing the tails. And it also protects their rear ends. So give them a little bit of protection. and you can see it just moving back and forward there. So it's swishing its ears and it's swishing its tail, keeping cool and swatting away all those nasty flies. So it seems like today is going to be an elephant type of day. Jamie, who is also here with us in South Africa, has more elephants. So let's go across to her to see them.
This is awesome. It really is an elephant type of day. There is a very large herd feeding down below us. So this is a different group of elephants to the one that Lauren is with. And that's lovely because sometimes we go for days. Oh, it's a baby Dacre, Dave, at the top behind that elephant's head. There. Straight there. Go straight. There you go. There. Look at that. It's a tiny, tiny baby Dacre. Oh, poor little thing. Its mom actually ran away when the elephants came through, but because it's so tiny, it's used to hiding away in the thickets. It doesn't actually come out into the open. So that's a tiny, tiny little antelope. It's probably the size of a small doggy. Oh, cute. It looks so small next to the elephants. But it gave the elephants a little bit of a fright as well. Oh, sweet. Okay. Cute. Hiding again. All right, Dave, I'm just going to shift slightly because it looks like they want to come through here. So I'm just going to go up around and move myself into a better position. Now, I said to you that the elephants got a bit of a fright when the Dacre ran away. There goes the mom and the dad of the little baby. They're running this way. I'll try and find them again for you in a moment. I'm just going to move slightly for these Ellies because they are a little bit unsettled. Oh, shame. That poor little Dacre must have got such a fright at these big feet stomping towards us. That's not very nice at all when you're tiny like this, just that big. There's one of the parents. That's one of the parents of that little antelope that we were seeing. Oh, it's running away now. There's a second one off to the left of it. There it goes. There we go, jumping through the bushes. Okay, let me move for those Ellies so you can see them. I think they might be making their way towards a water hole for a drink, but we're just going to give them a little bit of room so that they can walk past us. Maxwell, a very good question because there's lots of little baby elephants here. Maxwell wants to know if elephants have milk for their babies. And the answer to that is, hey, big girl, yes, they do, absolutely. They do have milk that they feed their babies, and they actually feed their babies milk for a really, really long time. So generally, human beings, depending upon the person, they feed their babies for a couple of months, maybe a year or so, sometimes a little bit more. But elephants can actually feed their babies milk for 3 years and sometimes even up to 5 years of their lives, which is really, really very cool. So yes, like all mammals, elephants have milk for their babies, and that's one of the ways that you can tell a female elephant from a male elephant, because if you look between their front legs, you can actually see that they can produce milk. You can see it in their mammary glands. This is so lovely. They're all climbing up this very, very steep hill, and I think making their way towards the water. Sometimes having to walk on their wrists to get up this hill. And Raymark wants to know who is the leader of an elephant herd. Now, it might even be that individual that climbed up that steep slope. So an elephant herd is led by a female called the matriarch. And the matriarch is usually one of the oldest females. Oh, look at the babies at the back. Isn't that cute? Tiny, tiny little baby elephants. Also looking to see if they can get a drink of milk. So the matriarch is usually one of the oldest and most experienced elephants, and what they do is they decide where the elephant herd goes, what they do, where they go to drink. Look at this, it's so lovely. Hi guys. They move nice and slowly so we don't upset them. They're walking right past me. I can smell the grass. They smell a little bit like really big horses. It's one of my favorite smells in the whole wide world. And you can hear them walking through the grass. So cool. This is a little boy. He's walking right in front of us. He's obviously smelt something that he wants to come and eat right here. Look at the thickness of their skin. Awesome. Now Gillian wants to know, and this little one's still got tiny tusks, he's still growing his tusks. Gillian wants to know if elephants use their tusks to fight. They do, particularly the male elephants. But elephants use their tusks for lots of different things. Now I will move in a second because I know you can't see the elephants, but they're right behind me, so I can't actually shift around. So elephants, remember that a tusk is a tooth. A tusk is just a tooth that grows in a very, very different way in elephants. There we go. Oh, look, there's so much to see out here. There's a bird of prey as well, soaring through the air. That is a vulture. And that is the type of bird that cleans up all of the dead material out here. So if an animal dies, it will be eaten. And the vultures do a very important job of making sure that this place is kept clean by removing all of the rotten meat that otherwise could potentially cause disease. So vultures are not a very pretty bird, and a lot of people don't really think that they're that important, but they actually really, really are. Now, I was telling you about elephants' tusks while we do a little turnaround. Elephants use their tusks for a lot of different things, not just fighting. What they often use their tusks for, especially here in South Africa, less so in the Masai Mara, is to dig into the ground with their feet as well. So they use their feet, then they use their tusks like this, and then they dig a bit more, and that's to get tubers and bulbs out of the ground. They also use them for scraping tree bark, or sometimes what they'll do is they'll use their tusk to break a branch. So they grab it with their trunk and then they rip with their tusk, and that way, just have to reverse backwards, that way they actually rub a piece of the tooth so that it's missing. Now there's a big water hole up ahead, and I'm very excited because I think we're going to get to watch them drink. We just have to wait for them to go in front of me. They've already had a bath. I can see some of them are dark in color, so they've already had their daily cool down. So elephants, when they love water. They absolutely love water, especially when it's hot like this. They go up to water and they drink first because they don't want to drink muddy water. Then they grab big trunkfuls of water. So they pull it up through their trunk and then they throw it over them. And sometimes they even go swimming. Did you know that an elephant can swim? Not only can they swim, how many of you, hands up if you've been snorkeling? Have you ever been snorkeling? Now, elephants can use their trunks like a snorkel. So they go swimming, and then their trunk sticks up out of the water, and so they can breathe. Isn't that cool? So they're coming up to the water hole now. Let me just speed up a little bit now that they're moving very quickly. They've clearly got something in mind that they want to do, and I think it's have a drink here. Now, up until a few weeks ago, there was no water here at all. It was just dry mud. But now, because we've had some rain, there's lots and lots of water. Oh, so nice. Hold on. I'm going to bump us down a bit. There we go. Don't want to miss the best moments, so I'm going to stop. Abby, you can see there's lots and lots of elephants here in this herd. I'll answer your question properly in a moment. Just listen for a second. the tiny baby going down the hill. This is lovely. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to call someone else in. Orbs, if you're interested, and close to Treehouse Dam is a nice herd of elephants drinking here. You can make your way. This is lovely. So, we were talking about how many elephants live together. That depends. Their breeding herds are usually around about between 10 and 15 animals. It depends on where you are. But that consists only of females and their babies. So young males, young females, and females stay in the herd for their entire lives. But when males reach around about 13 years old, they start going through puberty, and they actually leave the herd and often live all by themselves. Sometimes they spend... Cute. So sweet. Double trouble, that. Sometimes they spend time with other males, but mostly they can live alone. These babies are adorable. Now, I think that female on the right is the matriarch, and that's her little baby. She's very, very old. You can see the skin starting to stretch across her face. Now, Colton, you want to know why they are spraying water on their bodies. Because elephants are a very big animal, and it gets really, really hot out here. So they spray water on their bodies in order to cool themselves down. So that's one of the reasons why they like swimming, because it cools them down. So you can imagine being in lots and lots of jumpers or jerseys and jackets when it's really hot. That's kind of what it's like being an elephant. So they have to have ways to cool. That little one's playing with its trunk in the water. Oh, is that nice? See? Look how happy this little baby elephant is. So cool. Splash, splash, splash. The other way that elephants cool down is they use their big ears. So their ears are full of blood vessels. So kind of like if you hold your palm of your hand out and you stretch your fingers right back and you look at your hand, can you see all those blue lines on your hand? Oh, hello. You see all the blue lines on your hands? Those are types of blood vessels, and they bring the blood close to the surface of the skin. Now, that's how elephants cool down, because they wave their ears, they flap their ears, and that helps to cool them off, because the blood gets cooled down, and then that goes to the rest of their bodies. You know how if you're really, really hot and you fan your face? It's like that. And just like that, they're off. Connor wants to know, how do they breathe without opening their mouths? Well, Connor, their trunks are kind of like noses. In fact, not even kind of like. Their trunks are noses. Oh, that's a terrible sentence. Let me try and explain this properly. Imagine if your nose stretched out really, 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 really long. Then it would be a trunk. And that's basically what elephants have. So they have two holes at the tip of their trunk, and that goes all the way up the trunk to their heads and then into the back of their throat and then to their lungs. So they can breathe through their trunks just like you can breathe through your nose. Unless you've got a cold, of course, in which case you probably can't. Thanks, William. Thanks, Orbs. All right. Our elephants are off and moving, and we might not be able to stay with them. So while we go and search for other exciting things to show you, let's jump back all the way across to Kenya, to David with his sleepy lion.
Well, boys and girls, how lucky was that to see elephants, to see babies, to see them drinking and to see them in the water. Wasn't that cute? Now, I was talking with Big Five earlier, and I told you elephants definitely are some of the Big Five of Africa, and I got the other one here, and this one particular lioness is a sister of the one that we saw earlier that was on top of a Taman Mound. The one that was on top of a Taman Mound seemed a little bit active, but this particular one looks very snoozy, just like the cats that you have at home. Well, it's not unusual for lions or lionesses to sleep that much, and what happens is once they're full and it's warm and it's hot, the only other thing they do is just to sleep. You know what cats do at home? And lions are in that big group of cats, not similar to the cats that the domestic cats you have, but in general, all cats are the same. They tend to sleep a lot. Now, this particular lioness is very special to me because she got some little cubs. I have not been able to see them. They're hiding in that little bush that I'm going to show you. Hunter, how are you? And you're asking, why do lions eat meat? Now, Hunter, lions and leopards and hyenas and cheetahs, we call them predators. And in general, Hunter, predators will always eat meat. We say they're carnivores, and because they're carnivores, the only food they eat is meat. Unlike the elephants that were with Jamie, which are herbivores that will eat either grass or trees or bushes or little twigs. Now lions are carnivores, and that's the food they eat. So we got carnivores and we got herbivores like elephants, but Hunter, we also got omnivores. And an example of an omnivore, it's you and myself. And out in the bush, I would say examples of omnivores are monkeys, like baboons. And omnivores will eat both meat and anything green, be it grass or little twigs or little bushes. So we have herbivores, we got omnivores, and we got carnivores. So we're going to go back to our lioness there because she's just enjoying her snooze and just hoping that her small ones will come out. Now, I said earlier, the one we saw before was a member of a pride that is called Olololo. And also this one is of the same member. And I was talking of 4 females. So of the 4 females I was talking about, now we got 2. Now, what happens once in a while, the lions will separate and they'll go in different directions as much as they are the same pride. Now, this one has come away from the main group or from the main pride because she got small cubs and she does not want to be disturbed. She does not want the other members to play with the small cubs because they are still very young and they're still very vulnerable. So she does not want to take any chances. Isabella and Courtney, you'd like to know how long it takes for baby lions to grow up. Now, Isabella and Courtney, I'll first tell you, the cubs take about 3 months in their mother's womb, in their mother's tummy. They stay for 3 months. Then they're born, all right, Isabella and Courtney? And once they're born, it takes about 2, if, for example, I'm sure you know, boys are different from the girls. Boys are what you call males, and girls are what you call females. So males have some hair on their neck, all right, and on the head that we call men. The girls do not have that. So for the boys to grow that mane to become big, it takes them about 2.5 years. So 2.5 years, they'll grow the mane, and they're big enough. So their mothers will tell them, out and go and live on your own. But if they're girls, because they'll also be almost grown at that age, maybe going to 3 years, they're going to remain in the pride. So it's only the boys that leave the pride, but the girls always remain in the pride. So 2.5 years, maximum 3 is the right age for them to go out. And by the time they are going out, they're already big and they're independent, and above all, they can hunt their own food. Isn't that exciting? So if you're lucky today at one point and you see a boy or what I call a male, if you look on this particular one here, the female, she doesn't have any hair on the head or on the neck. Boom. She goes to bed again. But the boys will be having a lot of hair on their heads and on their neck that we call men. So in general, many cats, including lions, tend to blend in. See how she's hiding there? Because her body blends in with her surrounding, so they will always know where to go, and especially when they're hunting, so that the animals they're hunting, they do not spot them. Aliana, you'd like to know why does the boy lion have a beard? It's simply because they're a little different than the girls. For example, I usually shave Aliana every day. When I don't shave, you'd see I'll have a beard like that because I am a boy. So boys are formed differently and the girls are formed differently. There's something that we call chromosomes. So if you get X and X that forms a girl, that will be a girl and will not have beard. And if you get an X and a Y chromosome joining together, it makes a boy, and those are the boys that will have beards. And then they'll have to look different. Just like you boys and girls, you look different, don't you? So it's the same case here. And the girls will always look at the boys with the biggest beard because they think they're always very handsome. Now we'll give you one more quick look on this lioness of ours because she's a bit sleepy, and if she continues being sleepy, we are going to move on and maybe go look for something else that is more active, just like the lions, or rather just like the elephants you had with Jamie. So it's not unusual for lions to sleep like this. It is very normal. Just like I told you, like the domestic cats you have at home, which tend to sleep and sleep and sleep. Boys and girls, I would want to ask you, that lioness is very sleepy. Let's assume she's dreaming. Tell me at one point, what do you think she could be dreaming of? You know, even us, when we sleep, we dream at night. So let's assume this lioness is dreaming, and let's assume you're in her mind. Just give me an idea. What do you think she could be dreaming of now? Sometimes they sleep 15 hours in a day. And I got my friend, Kirsty, in the final control, who always tells us what to do on the show. And she's telling me that this lioness is dreaming of an antelope burger. Can you imagine how fun is that? So she might be thinking to go and get some antelope burger for herself tonight. And if she does, she'll have a lot of milk for her small baby cubs. I've been waiting for these cubs to come out and play, but I think because they're very young, she still wanted them to stay hidden in that green bush I was telling you about. Do you see that bush to the right? The other side of it, inside, there's a small hollow area, and that's where she's hiding them. And they'll stay there until maybe she's very confident and sure it is safe for them to come out. And you can see how quiet it is, and the wind is not moving, it's so silent. And this is a very special thing that we have here in the African wilderness. So 15 hours for the lioness to sleep is not unusual. If it was a boy, sometimes boys sleep up to 20 hours in one day. Can you imagine? But of course, that's when they have eaten well, they have enough water to drink, and they have nothing else to do. They just sleep because they almost have everything else that they need in life. So there, did you see that, boys and girls? I told you the cub might come out. See how small it is? We just saw some splits of seconds of her face. There she is. Aren't you lucky, boys and girls, today? Oh, this has made my day. Yeah, very cute. I've been very patient here for a very long time, hoping the mother is going to call them, but the mother looks sleepy. There she is. Boys and girls, look at that tiny, tiny baby. I can tell you, I think she could be less than 2 weeks. I am not sure when she was born, but I'm guessing she's definitely less than 2 weeks, maybe 10 days old. Isn't that cute? Now, the lionesses will always give birth maybe 1 cub or 2, sometimes 3, and if they give more, if they give birth to many cubs, it's always 4. But in general, the average is 2. That's the average for the lionesses to have baby cubs. They'll always get 2, and I guess this is one of the 2. There she is. Are you playing with another one, or are you alone? Yay, look at her. I'm even guessing these cubs were born in the new year. What do you think? Yeah, there are 2 there, so it means this mother has done very well. She got 2 cubs. And if today is the 8th of January, and we see, whoops, look at that, boys and girls. Yeah, remember as I told you, or we told you, should you have any questions or any comments, please send them through your teachers. How nice has this been? You're very lucky kids, and it's a very nice way to finish the school. And I'm so excited just like you. And from the North Landing Elementary, Shelton Park Elementary, Parkway Elementary School, we are thanking you very much. And you know what? These cubs have come out to say goodbye to the 3 schools. Even these cubs are 3. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we're going to be seeing you again soon. Thank you, and see you soon. How wonderful to see cubs. As a way to see if they'll come out a little bit further, we'll take you back to South Africa to Jamie Patterson.
Awesome! What wonderful news! Brand new Olololo cubs. It makes David's shot here a little bit sort of incongruous as we go into our regular sunset safari. We were aiming for sort of arty and moody, and now you've got tiny little cute cubs gambling about. It's not really quite gelling with this whole theme, is it, Dave? Let's go for it again. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Let's appreciate beauty in all its shapes and forms. Fluffy little lion cubs and silhouetted vultures in dead trees that would grace the halls of some photography exhibit. Now remember that we are continuing with our regular safari. You can send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter. You can get hold of us in the comments section of YouTube. I'm laughing at Kirsty because she says this is better and that we're going to spend the rest of the drive staring at this vulture. It's art, don't you know? I mean, we could compose some really bad haikus. I can't do a haiku. I can't remember how many syllables I'm meant to do. A little bit of, what's his name? Not Thomas Edison, man. He wrote Preludes. Burnt out ends of smoky days. What is his name? It's gone out of my mind. Help. Can't think of what that poet's called. It's something dark and moody to match the theme. Speaking of dark and moody, or the opposite of dark and moody, I'm going to move on from our vulture, for it is not entertaining me anymore. Unless you really want to compose a poem for the vulture, in which case please do. We'll add it, we'll screenshot it, print it out, and then put it on a white wall with a little notebook next to it. Anyway, never mind. Moving on. We went back to the daycare, and I was going to stay so I could show you, but the parents were dashing about frantically looking for it. But then I realized we were actually scaring the parents, and we were making their job that much harder, and they were really agitated, so I left, because I just didn't really want to do that to them. So I'm sure they'll find their baby, but they'll do it much better when not hampered by the fear of this giant moving vehicle that, as you know, daycares don't particularly like. Now, why are there 2 vultures here? I ask myself when Hosanna was moving into this area. I do not have the answer to that. However, I do know that some of you will be very indignant if we keep you away from those lion cubs for too much longer. So off you pop back across to David and have a look at tiny, fluffy Olololos.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have some wonderful news for you, because I got these bundles of joy here, 3 of them, with this beautiful lioness, and just trying to groom her newborn cubs. Got newborns, I'm guessing they're just about 10 days old. And how epic is this? How cute is this, ladies and gentlemen? And for our regular viewers, welcome to the Triangle. And I'm so excited to be showing you these exciting crabs on this new year. And number one, my apologies, or so sorry for having little technical features as we're bringing you these wonderful joys for 2019. We truly apologize. And for us to broadcast from the African wilderness, we got many challenges, but at the end of the day, we'll always be back in business as we are, with this one cub looking at us and these other two trying to nurse, trying to get some milk. And how exciting is this? I'm not sure I may have the right words to describe this sighting, and I'll be requesting you to say, wow, what cubs, how epic is this? I request you, I'm sure you know how to talk to us, and for those of you who are joining us now, this one female belongs to the Ololo Pride. I don't know where she wants to go. Don't go anywhere. Stay there and play with those cubs, please. Don't go anywhere unless she got very uncomfortable where she was. Oops, that's not very bad. She just created a little difficult angle for us, but it's not very bad. So I was requesting you to send me a tweet, a one-word tweet on hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, hashtag SafariLive, on what you think about this epic sighting of 2019. As I said earlier, this particular individual belongs to a pride that we call the Olololos, and she just gave birth, I would say, 10 days ago, maybe 11 at most. And it's so cute to see a mother with her new cubs all new year. So it's time to nurse. We've been here for quite some time, hoping they'll come out, and finally our patience have paid. Joy, how are you? And your one word is speechless. Thank you, Joy. It couldn't be better. I mean, you have no words to describe this joy. You just say speechless. And Tom, you say special. Thank you. Speechless, pretty cool. Special, pretty cool. I'm not sure Archie want me to back up a little bit, or will it make a difference? So, either tell the car close to me. It's Joy and Tom, just hang on. We'll back up a little bit and see if we can give you a little better angle than this, because it's so special. So just have to be careful of my friends behind. Keep coming. Okay, let's see what we can see now. I just backed up a little bit and I hope it's going to make a big difference. And look at that. So that's a mother, and she got 3 cubs. I am not sure whether this is her first litter. I would guess it could be her second or third, because she's one of the oldest females in this particular pride. And many beginners or many first-timers will have a litter in general of 1. If all the 3 cubs are hers, I think she has done very well, because there's another female that's not very far from here, and I've been thinking most likely they gave birth at the same time. Not sure about that, but if you look at them, they're the same age, and chances are this could have been a pretty good mother to drop 3 cubs. So what I'm trying to imagine is to wait and see if she's going to reposition herself, come out a little bit in an open area. We can be able to bring you better sightings or better visuals of her as we wait, and maybe hopefully whether myself or might take another position. Let's take you back to Jamie, who got some Ellis.
Awesome, Gigi. Well done. I can't believe we're on to the next generation of Olololos. That's astounding. And really soon, come to think of it. Now, babies everywhere. We've got 2 very playful baby elephants who are having the best time. Of course, as we wanted to show them to you, this elephant decided that it really didn't want them to have all the spotlight and went and stood right in front of them, which, well, we can't do anything about, so you'll just have to watch the baby elephants playing behind it. Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Perfect. Look at these 2. are dashing backwards and forwards. Dave, do you remember we were in the Mara once, and I think it had been quite a long day, and we had 2 baby elephants playing, and the one was running backwards and forwards, and it ran so fast that it ran into the back of its friend. Did you look at that clip yesterday? How weird's that? And it fell on its little bottom. Oh man, that brought me so much joy, as does this. Thank you for those of you telling me it was T.S. Eliot. That's exactly who it was. That's exactly who I was thinking of. All I could hear in my head was McCavity, which of course is not the name of the poet. I'm going to have to do some moving around. There is a vehicle behind me who I think would like to come past, but I really want to watch these babies play. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle up onto the side here. Give me a second. Up we go. Sorry, bush willow. I'm just going to bend you slightly temporarily. Don't worry, it'll spring back up as soon as I move off it. I think they've got enough space there. Okay, I'm out of your way. It will bounce back. It'll be as good as new. My tire didn't go over it. Oh, why must you play behind the tree? Come and play in the road. Like a good little elephant. I'm so happy the Ellies are back. It's been days worth of absence. I've felt it in my very soul. Such a joy. Actually, Tristan and I were just talking about this last night, actually, after his SafariLive's chat about elephants. We're talking about how excited we are for marula season and the big male elephants coming back onto quarantine. Really something that we look forward to in our year. Look at the way their feet spread their weight. Not quite silent. Hello. How are you today? Yes, it's okay. It's all right. Obviously, the elephant doesn't understand a word I'm saying, just to clarify. But talking in a low, calm tone does actually really help with elephants. Not trying to hide from them or whisper or just keeping your tone nice and level. No screaming or squealing or anything like that. And then you've got a perfectly relaxed elephant right in front of us. Now I have to tell you folks that this afternoon I'm being directed by a Kirsty who is all the way in Johannesburg. Things have changed, times have changed, and Kirsty's now excited not to have marula fruit falling on her roof in the middle of the night, because of course that was something that happened during the marula season. Out of your way there, Dave. I, of course, am not excited because it means that they're all in Johannesburg. Oh, bonk! Hi, guys. You cute, man. Oh, now we've got another mischief coming to say hello. Hi, girl. Nico viewer, welcome to the safari. You want to know if they ever eat soil? They do. They absolutely do. It's known as geophagy, and they eat soil in order to supplement their mineral intake. It is not enormous amounts of soil, but little bits of soil they will. Obviously, they, as part of their diet, when they eat trees and when they pull grass up out of the ground, they will also get a little bit of sand with it. I think their food often comes with a bit of crunch, some dietary fiber that we as humans have to resort to the bland misery that is muesli. That reaches the point that you actually lose the will to continue eating it. But they do eat a little bit of soil. They will also go to specific areas where there's high mineral contents. It really depends upon where you are in Africa and where the elephants are. And they will go and they will move to those areas specifically to supplement their mineral intake. Why did you come this way, big girl? No, I'm in your way, but I didn't realize you were going to do a big loop around me. Sorry. I really didn't mean to. With your gorgeous babies. Sorry, big girl. I didn't expect you to come this way. Hey, beautiful. You are gorgeous. Hello. Hello. Oh, yes, run on those little legs. Mom is talking. Deep, low rumble from her. My favorite sound. Telling her whole family that it's time to move. They're also going to Treehouse Dam, everyone, so we might actually, once they've come past us, because this lot they haven't had a bath. They haven't been wallowing, or at least not recently. Some of them are a little bit darker. A little bit damp, but I might go back around to Treehouse and catch them there again. Although the one thing I fear for is that poor baby Taker. twice in one day is really just too much. That's really just too much. Imagine the poor parents. They're going to need some sort of anxiety medication, which I think daycare as a general rule will probably need anyway, with the life they lead. But they're heading on exactly the same path. They're probably talking to that other elephant herd that we saw earlier. We're not far. What are they saying? I wish I knew. Perhaps what they're saying is, guys, it's hot. Time to go and have a drink. Now, that, of course, is why we always check the water holes on a hot day, which is exactly what Lauren is doing. Let's go and find out if she's had any luck there.
Yes, we are currently at a waterhole, literally, but look at the mess of it. It is so messy. The reason we wanted to show you this is there has quite obviously been a herd of elephants come by. Now, being an elephant is a little bit hard to be discreet and hide yourself, and the evidence is right here in front of us. They've obviously came by here, probably to have a really large drink, to cool themselves down in that heat, which is just starting to cool down now, and probably bathe. If there was any young ones in the herd, they were probably splashing around and rolling in the mud as well. So we can see the evidence from all the pools, the dung, the track marks, and it's just such a lovely sighting to know that the elephants were just here. Now, we did have a herd of elephants earlier, for those who were watching, and it could very well be the same herd as we've seen their sort of footprints, if you like, all the way. So if you've just tuned in, my name is Lauren, and I do have Mr. Senzo on camera today. So we just wanted to show you that lovely area where you can see the elephants have had some fun, and now we are on our way to look for some cats. Now, there is a lot of leopards around today. We did actually spot Miss Tandy on the dam cam earlier on this morning, and Jamie also spotted Hosanna. So we are hoping to look for Tandy and hope that she might have a kill, and that Miss Tlalamba will be there as well. So that's our plan, and I can finally breathe again. It's got a little bit cloudy now, and that intense heat is kind of dissipated a little bit. It has been extremely hot today. My reptilian skin loves it, but it is hard to drive in the constant heat. So we've got a little bit of a breeze now, which is good, while we are on our missions for cats. So while we look, because we're determined to find today, let's send you all the way up north to David in Wimmera.
Well, good luck, Lauren, and I'm sure you're going to get something, but maybe I doubt you'll get something as cool as these three lion cubs here, because this is one of the cutest things I've seen at the very beginning of this year. And for those of you who would be joining us now, these particular cubs belong to a pride that is called the Olololo. Olololo it is, and it's one female, one member of that pride that gave birth, and I'm looking at it as about 10 days ago. So this bundles of joy, my estimate is 10 days old. How lovely is this? And remember, should you have any questions or comments, please send them through #SafariLive on Twitter. There's one that's very cheeky, just looking at us there. Trivan, you'd like to know how or what, at what age will the cub be, or the cub be introduced to the rest of the pride? Well, there are a few dynamics that come in play here, because if the pride is so big, the mother might be a bit wary of introducing them too soon. So anything 2 weeks and above, I would say it could be a good age for the mother to introduce the cubs to the rest of the pride. And like, you know what, meet your first cousins, here they are. So I'm guessing these cubs here, about 10 days old, because I had seen this particular female, and there were two of them apparently end of last year, and then they just disappeared shortly before the end of the year. And when I saw them, this particular one here, I guess, on the 3rd or 4th or so of January, I could tell from her belly she had given birth, but I didn't see the cubs until the day after, for a few seconds, and then they disappeared. I've been following them every day. I could not see them until today that I have been able to see them, and I feel this is a great day to have seen these cubs. And of course, the other vehicle that you saw there are also people who are equally excited like you to see these bundles of joy for 2019. I could be wrong, but my guess is they were born on the very first day of 2019. If that's the case, they're either 8 days old rather, and if they're born a day before or 2 days earlier, then they could just be a bit 10 days. They're always born blind, so it takes 4 or 5 days for them to start moving around, to open their eyes. And once that happens, I'm sure the mother will be very happy to know her cubs can move around. Hello. Well done, Mama. My guess is this could be her second or third litter, not her first one. Becky, very good comment. I'm very happy for you, Becky, and it's wonderful, even for us. I mean, we see so many lion cubs, Becky, every other day, every other week, every other month, but when you see them this tiny at this particular age, Becky, nobody would not love this. And earlier I had requested all of you, nice viewers, to give me a one-word tweet on what you think of these 3 bundles of joy. I had special, I had speechless, and I had put my own epic. So if anything you'd like to add on that, I'll be very happy. #SafariLive on Twitter. As these cubs, as they grow older, they definitely get the confidence to become more playful. And the other day I was talking with my friends Sydney and Tristan, and we were comparing cats, cubs of small animals. Ravinda, how are you? And always a pleasure to hear your name. You say it's magic. Yes, it is magic. And I'm sure, Ravinda, I follow a different pride that's called the sausage pride, which have cubs also, apparently 3, but much bigger than this, Ravinda. But I think, Ravinda, not sure I want to switch my love from the sausage pride to the Olololo pride. I'm a little bit torn. But, I have followed the sausages for a long time. So sausages is another pride of lions that we call the sausage tree pride. But, well, anything small in human eyes, I think, is always magical, as Ravinda says. Now, where did the cubs go? Definitely they could be somewhere behind that bush. And this is such a clever mother. She has chosen a very nice place. Just if anything goes wrong, she can quickly put them in there, protect them from the cold, protect them from the rain, and also possibly protect them from the would-be predators like, either hyenas or leopards. So she got a sister who is not very far from here, and that's exactly the direction she is looking at. And she's looking at the sister. But girl, I would say these cubs are very vulnerable at the moment, and at this particular age, you see one of them there, they become very vulnerable. Anything from, I would say, a day to about 3 months, lion cubs are vulnerable, and it could be anything. It could be male lions. I'm sure we all know of infanticide. It could be hyenas, it could be leopards, it could be snakes, it could be eagles, you know. It could be, unfortunately, sometimes sickness. So the other pride that I follow, the sausage tree, there's one mother there who had 2 cubs, and her name is Limpy. And she lost one of those precious cubs after about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you know, to mature when they were born. And even to this day, we have no idea what happened to that one particular cub. We kept following them, hoping, you know, he'll show up, because at least we know all those 3 cubs there and the ones that we lost were boys. And we kept hoping one day he'll turn up, but he never showed up. Well, this particular female here is looking in the direction of the sister, and there's one of the cubs coming to play. How cool is that? Hello. So there are 3 cubs, for those of you who could be joining us now, and my guess is they could be anything 8, 10 days old, most likely born at the beginning of 2019. A new year with new cubs of the Olololos. So total there are 16, and if we add these 3, we'll be talking of a massive number of lions, 19, and that is big number of lions by any standard, and there'll be a force to reckon with in this particular area. The only thing is there's 7 youngsters there which are males, and I'm looking at them at one point moving away. Chris, I missed the question there from Chris. You may have to bring it again, and just hoping these cubs will come out again and be more playful as they have been. Chris, good question, and you're wondering if there's a den close by here. At the moment, I would say there's no den. The only thing, Chris, I'm seeing is that little thicket, that little big termite mound like that you have all these bushes growing on. So what we're going to do is to move forward a little bit. Yeah, you see that bush there? That's exactly where I think they are. But Chris, where they were born at a particular den, which give or take should be about 3-4 miles from here. And when I missed them for 2 days, they had relocated them here, or she relocated them here, maybe with the help of her sister. So I would imagine that around that termite mound, there could be some kind of den. But they were actually born in a den that I identified, and that was shortly before she gave birth. I saw she was very full. Did you decide to move on? And if she decided to move on, as much as she looks a little bit hungry, she let the cubs stay back there. Are you changing position? So the direction she is looking at, she's looking at the sister or the first cousin, who chances are they would be communicating to make plans for dinner. At that age, or having cubs of that age, she needs to eat well and be well fed, to have enough milk to feed the cubs. So I can't see very well from where I am because I'm facing her, but behind me is where I left that female, and that other female there is either her sister or her first cousin. As I said earlier, female, lionesses never leave the pride. Niconico viewer, I would say this lioness may have to stay where she is or with the sister until a time she is comfortable that she can introduce the cubs to the pride. So I've been following the other pride of the Olololo. I'm sure Niconico viewer, you know our lionesses very well. I've been following that pride, and since she went to labor, or since she went to give birth, I have not seen her rejoin the pride. And after giving birth, which could be about 10 days ago, Niconico viewer, I haven't seen her also rejoin the pride, because not very far from here, I had seen the whole pride of about 12, 13 or so, and this female and the other one were nowhere to be seen. So it will take some time that she'll be happy and comfortable to introduce, these cubs to the rest of the pride. And I would imagine if that day I would know what day it will be, I would be very happy to see how these cubs will be received by the other members of the Olololo Pride. Hello, cuties. 10 days old? Do you agree? Yeah, I think they agree. So this is a very precarious age for these cubs here, and so many things would go wrong. I mean, they would be more playful, sometimes make a mistake and fall in a hole, for example, in a gully, where definitely the mother, it could be quite a task to get either of them out. We have seen lions, or we have seen rather elephants, their babies falling in big holes and using their trunks and legs and feet, pushing their babies up. And for cats, it's rather difficult for them to do that, because it could be even hard for them to go inside the same hole where the cubs might have fallen in. What are you thinking? So she keeps looking at the sister, and ideally I think there's some kind of communication between the two, and should she move to go join the sister, she'll definitely tell these cubs to stay put, go back to the den, maybe around that bush, or she's walking with them. Isn't this magical, Ravinda? Wow. Joy, I hope you're still watching. You're still speechless. We are so hard. Special. This is so very cute. A mother, 3 cubs walking the savannah. How lovely is this? And you can see how sensitive they are, and not staying very far from the mother. Not much they know what exactly to do or where to go. Don't go beyond there. I'm sure you've seen there's a big gully down there, and I'm sure the mother will not make a mistake. If you look to the left, there's a huge gully there. Kevin, what would happen if she goes hunting? She'll definitely leave the cubs behind for 2 reasons. Number 1, of course, the cubs might miss the hunt. Are you having a sneeze? Number 2, they're definitely too young to even run, and chances are they would get confused, they would get lost, and they might even get exposed to other predators. Now, she's going in a very delicate place, and I highly doubt the cubs will go there, and if they do, then she'll be looking for a den for them, because that angle is so tight for them. And there she goes. She'll lay down. I highly doubt those cubs will want to go there. And you can see the frame of the gun, how close I am to these cubs. Well, I think one of them is bedwearing, but it's a drop of about 1 meter. And you see that one trying to look for mama. Or is she giving them a challenge? You know, you have to grow up. You need to look for me. You need to know how to roll. You need to fall down. But see, they're very intelligent. They're weighing their options. They don't want to take a chance, because I'm looking over a height of about 2 meters there, and the only way they can get there is just by jumping. And that could be very dangerous. Please don't. Stay where you are until Mom comes back. Most likely Mom wanted a break from them. It should happen, because I'm imagining at this age they're full of energy and too playful. And the mother thought, I can only escape a little bit to have a bit of a break. Rima, very good question. I'll tell you what, I don't want to disappoint you, but at the moment, Rima, we have no idea. This is the very first time, Rima, we have seen them coming out in the open, so it's very difficult to tell you whether they're boys or girls. But before long, it will not take us maybe another 1 week before we identify what sex they are. The other pride that we follow, or I follow rather, the Sausage Tree Pride, there are 3 cubs there, 2 4 months, 1 3 months, and they are all boys. Not sure why. In general, we tend to see more male cubs than females. And in this particular pride also, we got 7 youngsters that are all males, you know, forming the 16. And now with the addition of 3, now we got 19, and that is quite something, or quite a massive number for a lion pride. So Lima, stay tuned for the next few days. We'll be going out here every other day. We go out every morning, every afternoon, and you might be able to identify whether they're boys or girls. Hello. But if you're lucky and they turn around, the only way to tell is just to look below the tail. And chances are we might know. It might take a few more months before we could see any amount of hair coming out of their necks, because that is also a very good indicator to see the boys. How sweet. I'm wondering what the mother's thinking. The mother's another, 4 meters away from them, and she went to a height exactly. That's where Archie is showing you. That is the mother there. She doesn't look worried. I'm trying to imagine. There must have been some kind of communication between her and these cubs, because they have not taken any chance to jump in there. So I'm saying these cubs are very intelligent. And I just want to remain here and see how things will go, or whether there'll be any drama, if any of them will try to be cheeky and jump and join the mother. But in the meantime, let's go down to South Africa to Lauren for an update.
So yes, in case you haven't noticed, it is actually raining. Can you believe it? From the last time you saw me, the clouds have now brought some lovely rain. It's wonderful. We're all getting slightly wet here, but it's really not too heavy. The sun is still shining from this side and the rain clouds are coming from this side. But we do have a big beautiful bird off in the distance that we can show you. We just spotted when we stopped here. And now you're looking in the direction of the sun. So this is the area that's not raining too much. And here we have what looks like a bateleur. From this angle, it's a little bit tricky to see because of the light, but you can see it's just perched on that tree there. Most likely relishing the rain. It is actually very difficult to see exactly what bird it is. We were just making a guess here. Can you see it moving in the rain there? Well, I think the rain will move past that bird soon. I think it's actually starting to slow down here. Yes, we love the sun showers too. Sometimes. Maybe if I had my waterproof, I would enjoy it a little bit more. But that is not going to deter us from our mission. Okay, so we're going to go back over to see those lions and those cubs.
Well, Lauren, I'm sure you're imagining if you could be here yourself to watch this lioness with her 3 little cubs. And she just came back and rejoined the cubs from where she was. And I want to say these cubs are very intelligent. They did not take a chance, or they did not risk to jump on that kind of a cliff. I would call it a cliff for them. It's just 2 meters deep, but for them, I would just call it a cliff. For those of you who could be joining us now, this is the Olololo Pride, and this is one lioness in this particular pride that got cubs that I think are about 10 days old. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen all over the world, and welcome to our Sunset Safari Drive in the Mara Triangle. And very exciting to have this particular sighting. My name is David, and with me on camera is Archie. We are coming to you live from the Mara Triangle in Kenya, and we have this very special sighting of a lioness with her 3 cubs. How lovely is this? Just to let you know, our drive is very interactive. So should you have any questions or comments, you may send them through using hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. I might try and keep quiet and see whether you can hear this mother and her cubs communicating. Very good. How lovely is this? This is so very cute. And this particular pride, we call it the Olololo, and this is one member of that particular pride. She got 3 cubs for herself, and I think They were born on the first day of the year. Color, you say, is so beautiful, and actually what I've done, I'm just keeping quiet just to hear this particular calling the mom, because she has been left behind by the other two. But I am not worried. She is going to join the rest very soon, or the mother will come for her. She's getting a little bit helpless now, and if we look down there, you can see the mother and the other two cubs very playful there. And I hope the mother is remembering she has one cub on the other end. And not sure that she's going to jump. Let's see what she's going to do. There she is. She's still calling mom. Can you see she's getting a little bit impatient now? And actually not sure what to do. And in the background you can hear some elephants just trumpeting. She's not worried as yet, but you can tell from her body language she is not very happy. Wow, I'm happy all of you can hear her calling, and that's the mother, and the mother has to do something. And the mother is either giving her some life lesson, come, roll down, everybody else came through that path, you can do it, come down, and there she's trying to go down. Please calm down. The mother doesn't seem to be giving her hand. She's like, everyone went through that path. The two other cubs, either your sisters or your brothers, they did it. And I think one is trying to go and rescue the brother or the sister. Oh, how sweet is that? How lovely. Are you going to rescue your sister or your brother and show him or her how to calm down? How did you do it yourself? Well, ladies and gentlemen, remember, should you have any wonderful comments, should you want to give me a one-tweet word like marvelous, wonderful, speechless, you may do that using hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Or should you have a question, or should you just want to throw us a comment, that gives us a lot of joy. Now, I'm not sure whether this one wants to go and help the other one, or these two are just being playful, but I want to believe they're thinking of the other one there. Must have lost comms there. Hopefully, oh, she's making it. She has slowly and surely made it, and there she is. Ooh, this is wonderful reunion. After struggling for a couple of minutes, she has been able to join the other brothers or the other sisters. You can see all of them now are in unison saying, wonderful, we are all back together. How lovely. Well, that has given me also so much joy. I was a little worried of what was happening, but the mother was like, you know what? Calm down the way the other two came. You can do it. And I think she did. Just being playful. Isn't this wonderful? For those of you who are joining us now, we're in the Mara Triangle in Kenya. And we are coming to you live. Well, there's three cubs here being so very playful. Just cut a leaf there for yourself. Joel, you say that was so truthful, and it could not be better for a new year. And I'm not sure you heard me saying earlier, I guess these cubs were born at the very beginning of this year. So they could be 8 or about just 10 days old. And I don't think I could ask for a better treat than this. I mean, so what I want to do, I want to move a little bit forward, and we'll have a better view. And then I'm going to give you one more look, and we'll say goodbye. So just hold on for 2 seconds. Keep going, actually. All right. So we're going to give you one more quick look of this wonderful mother who have given us such joy for 2019. And I would want to thank all of you for having joined me in this particular sighting of this one lioness of the Uluru Pride with her 3 cubs. Very many thanks for joining us, and don't go away. We might be sending you other notifications. We still remain on our YouTube chat stream, bringing you this wonderful sighting. And from myself, David, and Archie, thank you and goodbye. Very good. It could not be a better day for me than this particular Tuesday, and I think I have a reason when I go back to camp to eat 2 plates of dinner to celebrate this sighting. Well, as a way to see what these cubs might be doing with the mother, we'll take you to Tristan, who is out and about now.
Well, David, indeed, you have been very lucky by the sounds of things this afternoon, and hopefully your luck will rub off on the rest of us, because it's been fairly quiet this afternoon. Other than the Ellies, not much has been around. Now, you may have noticed that it is no longer Lauren sitting in the seat of Rusty, and Rusty has been transformed with its rain covers, and so we have now protected it, of course, because the rain is going to stop. And so, anyway, this is the way it goes. But I should say hello to all of you. My name's Tristan, and on camera I've got Senzo, and Senzo has spotted what he's worried I'm going to drive over. So don't worry, Senzo, I did see it. I just overran the mark a little bit with the brakes. But there in the road is a little friend that comes out when it is sunny. It's a little Speaks hingeback tortoise that has come out and about, and often see them when you get a little bit of moisture that starts coming down. These guys start to come out, and they'll start to kind of move around. It's exactly Kirsty, it's Gregory's cousin. Kirsty's very excited because Kirsty's been on leave, and so she's excited to see Gregory's cousin. For those of you who don't have the foggiest clue who Gregory is the camp Speaks hingeback tortoise that comes in every day and kind of looks around for Kirsty. Kirsty was the one that first kind of looked after Gregory, and so when Gregory comes in, goes looking for Kirst, and Kirst then kind of keeps him healthy and makes sure he's looked after. And nowadays, poor Gregory walks around ambling, lost, when Kirsty's in Johannesburg, because all of our final control has been moved to Johannesburg. Now, no, Kirst, not at all. I would never. Anyway, let's get back to the tortoise at hand. The tortoise, you can see, is now just trying to hide away from me more than anything else. Doesn't want to be seen, and you can see why they have the coloration of carapace that they do. It allows them to be able to camouflage quite well, which will then not attract attention of various predators that they have, from ground hornbills to hyenas to even lions and leopards potentially will try and chew down on these guys, as well as honey badgers. And so they get into these areas and they'll try to stay as still as possible. But the reason why they come out in the rain is generally because it's much easier for them to find water. Being slow-moving animals, when it rains, it allows them to find water quite close by, and they can then drink that up and fill up their bursa sac, which is a sac that they have in their body that helps to keep them hydrated through the dry periods. And whether that's in summer or winter, it doesn't really matter, as long as they can find fluid whenever it's available. And so you'll find them often walking around when it is raining. But this particular fella is, well, I say fella, he might be a lady, and then I'm being very, very, very unfair on him, but we're going to call him a him for now because he's the right size for a boy. Boys are often smaller of the two, so we'll leave him to himself. So Laurie, in the summer months, they'll be laying them now. For the next few, I would say probably the next month, we would see eggs being laid, and then you would find the little ones starting to come out. They're super, super cute when they come out. They're tiny little things like this, and they'll start to move. But normally it's the first rains triggers the first mating bouts, and then the subsequent rains after that, a few matings will take place, and you'll get, staggered through the summer period. There'll be quite a few tortoises, but it's normally early summer, should I say, rather than late. Now we do have a rainbow as well, because when rain and sunshine, that's what happens. There is this that takes place. It's unfortunately not a very bright one. It's just a little one that has kind of come up on the eastern horizon. So you can just kind of see it in the distance there. I think our rain is gone, so we made a brave call not to go back for for a roof, we decided to opt for rain covers instead, and I think we've made the right call now because it's blazingly hot now that the sun has come out and the rain is now stopping and slowing right down. But you can just faintly make out a rainbow. I think it's starting to fade quite quickly now, and so it's going to disappear probably any second now, and there it is, basically gone. So that didn't last all that long at all. Well, you can see, excellent, Kirsty. You see, this is what happens when Kirsty goes on leave, is that she can then, her eyes are much better. Maybe it's also because she's in the big city now. Maybe she had her eyes looked at. Kirsty needs glasses, otherwise she can't see much at all. And so I'm glad that she can see it. It means that she's got the right pair of glasses on. Kirsty, are you wearing glasses? Did you get new glasses for Christmas? Or are these the old ones? Yeah. Now, a lot of you are asking why our final control was moved to Joburg. Well, there's a couple of reasons for it. Essentially, one is that the support and the ability to fix things and those kind of things is much easier in Johannesburg. Secondly, as we want to try and grow and go into more and more locations and destinations and places, it's impossible for us to have final controls in every single part of where we want to go. And so if we centralize it, it allows us to then put feeds into that central point, and it can then kind of be broadcast out. So it makes more sense to have it there than it does in 20 different places. So all the feeds will then rather go towards Johannesburg, rather than bouncing between sort of Kenya and... No, yes, exactly, because of all the divas that we have in our camp that all want to go live the city life. Apparently, they've been all very sad the last few days that they have had to kind of move that way, and it's very sad for us because it's now starting to very much look like a boys' camp. I feel sorry for the likes of Lauren because soon there's just going to be boys running around and they're going to have to deal with all the men that are going to be in camp, which, as we know, a lot of men in camp generally is never a good thing. It causes all kinds of issues in terms of, yes, manly things that happen. But anyway, so it's going to be funny. I think we could be a period of adjustment, that's for sure, but it's going to be good in many respects from a quality of what we can do, and hopefully going forward as well we'll be able to kind of allow us to open up into to go and see many different things. So it's a big move, but one that was needed, and I'm hoping that it's going to be for the best. I'm sure everybody else in Wild Earth is hoping for it to be, well, that it's going to be for the best too. Right, there's a bird of prey. Sun is hammering us. Poor Lauren just now was trying to ID a raptor, and I wasn't sure either until it eventually popped up its head. It was eventually, I also thought maybe Bateleur, and then when it popped up its head, it was very clearly a white-backed vulture. But this particular one looks like it could be a tawny eagle, large brown raptor with that yellow cere, and it's definitely not a Wahlberg's. Is it a steppe though? Because you've got to be careful now. The steppes will be around. Steppe eagles are beautiful, beautiful birds, big and bulky. Lots of them were up in the Mara when I was there. So I just want to double check when it turn the other way. Turn the other way. Turn. Now, of course, it's not going to turn, is it? It's going to be one of those. Now, to check between steppes and tawnies, there we go, now it's turned a little bit. You need to look at the yellow cere, and I'm going to show you what I talk about in terms of yellow ceres. Just give me 2 seconds. I need to find it on my app quickly. Somewhere here. At least you can admire the beautiful eagle against the sort of backdrop of sunshine, which, like I say, is not great for birding. But here we go. Right. So, steppe eagles have what is termed a much longer gape than what the tawnies have. If you have a look here, this is what a steppe eagle looks like, and basically, essentially, the gape is what we're looking at. That gape extends past the eye on a steppe eagle, and makes it easy to kind of identify them from that, especially when they're sitting. Now, a tawny eagle, which I think is that way, yes, look at that, I even got the app right and went the right way. It normally never happens to me. There you can see the difference between the tawny eagle, where the gape goes halfway down the eye, and so that's how you can pick up the difference between the two, even when you've got them up against seriously horrible sunlight. Now, I can't see nicely from where I am currently, but maybe you guys got some screenshots and you can then make a decision as to which one it is. I think, looking at it, it's a tawny, but I might be wrong. It's obviously now flown away, so I can't actually double check anyway. But it looked tawny-ish. Right, Good. So the plan for the afternoon, now that I've taken over from Lauren, is pretty much the exact same as what she was doing. Is we're going to go and try and find the hardest leopard to find within our area, which is Tundi. We know how she can be. I just want to quickly shoot down to the southern boundary and just check the fire break, because there was a report of 14 wild dogs just inside Little Gowrie, and with the little bit of rain that we had, you never know, they might have come over. So we're just going to quickly check around there before we then start to come and traverse the sort of eastern side of the Mulwati, because maybe Tundi, after she came south and west, she might have then turned and gone more eastwards towards that side. She often likes to spend time. Pre-dawn, you say, yes, it is a tawny. Thank you very much. I was hoping it would be. It looked very much like a tawny. It's always important to trust your initial instincts, I feel, when you see birds. Often when you and ah too long and you look too long, you end up kind of seeing things that potentially are not there. And so, tawny eagle it was. But I do want to see a steppe again while I'm here. They're such nice birds to see. I think they're absolutely beautiful birds. The steppe and then the pale forms of the tawnies, which you get a lot of in the Mara, they're also very, very pleasant as well. Beautiful afternoon now that we've had that little bit of rain. It's like nice golden light, and it's just taken the edge off that heat a little bit. Earlier it was just so hot before this kind of rain fell, and so now it just feels a lot more comfortable than it did. Good. Off to the southern boundary we go. In the meantime, back to Jamie, who skittled home and quickly got herself a roof, and I wonder if she's regretting her decision.
Off to the southern boundary Tristan goes, and you know what, to my utmost embarrassment, I've gone and put a roof on. And it's a beautiful, beautiful sunny shine. Yes, I know. That's how I feel too, Hardy-da. So I'm a bit embarrassed. I thought the storm was going to rebound, and it was going to come back and hit us full force. It did not do that. It went away completely, and now I've got this silly roof on. I know, Hardy-da. Their name, of course, Hardy-da ibis, named purely... I know it's laughing at me, cursed. I know it is. Named purely as a way of actually imitating their call. So when they fly, that's the sound it's making now is just sort of half of its call. But when they actually take off, they go, Shut up, Dobby. I thought that was quite good. I thought that was pretty good. Dobby burst out laughing behind me. Even he's laughing at me. Everyone's laughing at me. I think I'm going to leave and go and hide with Hosanna somewhere in the bushes. No, the reason I've stopped at this particular Hardy-da is they are a relatively common bird that we see often out here. Is I'm wondering if perhaps it's not going to choose to nest in the same jackalberry that it did about 2 years ago. Now, those of you who've been watching for an extended period of time will remember that we followed a Hardy-da nest for pretty much until the chicks fledged, if I remember correctly. And it was just here at Twin Dams. I neglect them all the time because all of us grew up with them in our gardens, screeching at odd hours. They are very common in a lot of different places. Not the most attractive of the ibises. Checking out his reflection. Virginia says that it sounds like a party horn. I know, now I wish it would keep calling. It sounds like a child. Of course, as I start talking, every time I start talking, it does it. Reminds me of a child that wants to throw a tantrum, but isn't actually crying. You know when they do that to try and see if it'll work, if they get their own way. Aligning all its feathers beautifully after that nice little downpour. I agree with Tristan, it's now absolutely stunning. The more you watch it, the fun... The more we watch it, the funnier it gets. Apparently, many of you have not actually seen them call on the ground like this. They often do. So, although when they take off, they do their full call, it is very common to see them call on the ground. They are... I can't see a second one, but I suspect that there would be another one here somewhere, and that we would in fact have a mating pair at this time of year. Perhaps looking for food. In fact, let's keep watching it, because maybe if it gets something, it might actually take us back to a nest. No, apparently it's just going to eat it itself. Never really looked at them for an extended period of time. The more you look at them, the weirder they get. We're so used to them from growing up with them in our gardens that I feel as though I've neglected to really observe them. They're bizarre looking birds. Why is that so funny? I don't know why, but it is. This has been a revelation. Lily says that she likes the greenish colours on the wings in the sun. I know, and then sometimes every now and again it gets a sort of a red tinge to it as the light that's being absorbed is bouncing, or at least only certain light waves are bouncing back at certain angles. Very pretty. Iridescent. Not quite as iridescent as, say, a starling, but iridescent nevertheless. And you can sort of start to appreciate them more when you look at them like this. I'm ashamed of myself. I have never fully appreciated a hardy-dar, or if I have, I've forgotten. Our beard would like the hyena? The hardy-dar call as a ringtone. The reason I said the hyena is because our amazing ops manager, Steph, I feel as though you could have that as your ringtone as well. Just add a spur file to your list. I know. The reason I said hyenas is because I'm obsessed with hyenas, A. And B, our wonderful ops manager, Steph, who we all adore and love, spends about half of his life on the phone. Oh, it's a guinea fowl, that's what I was trying to say, not a spur fowl, sorry. Talking nonsense, guinea fowl. He has had a guinea fowl ringtone, a jackal ringtone, a lion roaring, hyena whooping. I think hyena whooping was, the last time I saw him, was the ringtone he was using. And he goes through stages where he absolutely loves his new ringtone, and then by the end of it, it sort of achieves some sort of negative association and he can't take it anymore. But of course that brings me back to the famous clock story, where in the previous place that I used to work, my boss decided it was the jackal one I liked. Kirsty says the jackal was the worst. But anyway, the place where I used to work, my boss decided that it was a great idea to get a bird call clock. And one of the calls was guinea fowl, that awful sound you're listening to now. Not awful, but, you know, constant. And one was a fish eagle, one was a white-faced owl, one was an orange-breasted bushshrike. I have told the story before, so forgive me for those of you who've been watching for a while. We have a finite number of stories. One was a hardy-dar. Anyway, long story short, we hated that clock with an absolute passion, because after a while, it broke. And we thought it was the batteries, and I think we replaced the batteries, but the power sort of ran out of it, so that the bird calls, A, would be completely random. They'd come at random times, and B, were sort of running out of steam. So you'd get the guinea fowl going towards the end, and the orange-breasted bushshrike would go I mean, it was a total disaster. That clock that clock disappeared completely. We removed it eventually. One was definitely a woodland kingfisher as well. That would go chick chirr at odd times. I hated that clock when it worked. I hated it even more when it stopped working. And it was when we used to live in a little farmhouse. It was a second camp of ours. So it was completely just us and about 3 or 4 guests and 2 guides if you were lucky. So it really was a sort of very isolated existence. Arbeard, are you sure you want the Hardy-Dar ring? Or do you have it as your ringtone? Or are you sure you don't want the guinea fowl? Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. I actually don't know how you get animal ringtones. I'm really sorry. I can find out for you, actually. I mean, all we have to do is ask Steph. I'm sure we could mention it to him. I know Steph was with Brent earlier today. And Viam. So we'll find out how you can get animal ringtones. I've got no idea. I assume that there's a way. I stick with the standard silent phone, which infuriates people no end when they're trying to get hold of me. Alright, Arbeard, I'll do some research for you, see if I can help you out. Let's go back to David in the Masai Mara. He's had the most amazing afternoon. I'm sure he must be totally overjoyed.
Well, Jamie gets some animal ringtones because we had some nice ringtones with these cubs earlier here and the mother. Now, that one female is the one female that we saw before we found this one here. I mean, I'm saying here because we have not moved from where we are. I just repositioned so that you could look at both of them. But in the process, this one came down from that termite mound that you see there. And if you look on that termite mound, it has a hole. And I was thinking that could have been a barrow of a warthog. And maybe she has either given up, the warthog has taken too long, and she's coming exactly where we are. She's coming either to join a sister or who had called the first cousin, because these 2 girls have been together the last, I would say, 3 weeks now. Shortly before the one we have gave birth, and after they have given birth, and they have continued being together. Get your tail out of there and please cross the road and come over. For those of you who could be joining us now, this is the Olololo Pride, and it's in the Mara Triangle, Kenya. We're definitely coming to you live, and should you have any questions or comments, we can answer them real time. Hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. We love hearing from you. What do you think these animals are doing, or why they have a particular behavior? And then she pops up from the road from the other side. Rosaline, anything 2.5 for the boys, I would say they are adults. 3 for the girls, I would say they are adults, sexually mature, and they could be independent, especially for the girls. So 3 to 4, they're definitely out and ready to go mating. So I'm guessing, Rosaline, this girl here could be anything 8, 9 years of age. And the female she's coming to meet where we are has 3 cubs. Rosaline, I hope you've been watching. And because lions are very social cats, they do a lot of, sometimes you can get 1 male mating with 2 females at the same time. They do a lot of allo suckling, as we say. I'm not sure either of the cub could be belonging to her, because when you look at her hind quarters, to me, either she gave birth or that's her, her body morphology. I'm a little bit confused. And I would not be surprised to know maybe 1 of the cubs here belong to her, or maybe none, who knows. But if this is her 3rd litter, the one we have now, or 4th litter, 3 cubs doesn't surprise me, being her own cubs. But just look at that hindquarters, especially on the thigh there, way top. So they'll keep on walking, look for anything they could browse. Definitely that could be very nice thing if they mate up, because we're going to catch more audience. She keeps walking. Very majestic. Temperatures have definitely gone down. A little bit dark. But for cats at night, still as good to go. Sing. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mara Triangle in Kenya. Now, we've got a lioness that is walking towards us, and where we are, we have another lioness, and most likely these two lionesses are sisters. We are coming to you live, and should you have any comments or questions, you may send them through using hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. She keeps walking, and I'm trying to imagine the reaction or how the other sister is going to receive this other first cousin, if we may call her that way, and once they meet. And there she wakes up to meet the sister or the first cousin who they have been, well, not separated for a long time, but maybe for the better part of the day. And let's just watch and see how they're going to say good evening and nice to see you. How have you been? How was your day? How cool is that? For other species of animals, that could be a sign of submission. For the one that goes down, trying to submit to the senior one in terms of ranking, it could be different for lions. And these two individuals belong to a pride of lions that we call the Olololo. And the Olololos went together. They are 16 in number. So these are just two of the 16. So 14 would be somewhere. But just to let you know, this one individual you see here got cubs that are just about 10 days old. Will you believe that? Rose, you say they're such majestic creatures. Thank you very much, Rose. That's a great comment. You saw her as she was walking towards the sister or the first cousin, how majestic she was walking, feeling so good, feeling like she owns the world. And no wonder sometimes you have said, kings of the jungle. Well, as much as you may not have jungle here, how cool is that? Well, what you're trying to do at that particular point, you saw that gully there, the three little cubs, we cannot see them at the moment. Either it has gotten a little cold and the mother told them, go in the gully, keep yourself warm and have a nap. But just hoping they may come out. Again, as I said, should you have any question, can come to us. My name is David, and with me on camera today is Archie. So comments, questions are always welcome as we go back to our two lionesses that are having a nap. And what will happen is, we'll always say here, safety in numbers. And because it has gotten a little dark and a few things might go wrong at night, maybe that's why these two lionesses have come together. One can have a little nap or snooze, and then the other one can keep an eye on the cubs. But I'm sure the cubs have been told it's time to have a nap and maybe wake up much later for suckling. Karina, you love how they greeted one another. Karina, thank you very much. That was really special. You see, as they got close to each other, one that was coming in went down, not like on her knees, but it was like a sign of not submission per se, but hi sister, hi my first cousin. And if Karina would compare that to hyenas, that would definitely be a submission, and the one that went down would be of lower ranking than the other one. That's pretty special for lions to see. Now, I don't know what time these cubs are going to wake up, but what I'm trying to do, I'm going to wait here. Doesn't matter how long I'm going to wait, but hopefully they're going to come out. And we're going to exactly show you where those cubs have gone. That little gully there, that's where those cubs have gone. And should they come out, we'll let you know much later on. We might be sending you more notifications. Thank you very much for having joined. And on behalf of Archie, my name is David. Thank you very much. And we'll see you again. We'll continue with our normal YouTube broadcasting. This is fantastic view. It has made my evening. I feel so happy having seen those cubs, and we'll just spend a few moments here hoping they'll come out. And as they do that, we'll take you to Oli in Juma.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Safari Live. My name is Oli. Joining me behind the camera is still Davisito. We just exchanged seats with Jamie. So we are still looking for Hosanna, but no tracks yet. We're still driving around, hoping to find some tracks. But it is going to be a little bit difficult because we just had rain a few minutes ago, but it stopped. So, you know, rain, it washes away tracks so quickly. But we'll try our level best to find Hosanna. So don't hesitate. Push that button, #SafariLive on your Twitter account and your YouTube chat stream for your questions or comments. The sun is still shining bright. The bird calls. Davisito, are you? I don't think we're going to have this bird. Let me go forward a bit. Technical difficulty. Because we have a roof, that's why we have such a difficulty to spot things on top. Oh, we're going to get him. No, I don't think so. Now we'll try another one. We are so unlucky. Sorry everyone, sorry.
Sorry.
That was a crested puppet. My morning alarm. Take care. I didn't get your question right there, but it's all, I think it's all about mimicking. Can I mimic the bird call? Did you hear that, Davi? Would you please repeat the question again, Kirsty? Oh, does the shape of the beak impact the sound of the bird call? I think so, because as we just saw the Hadida ibis, it made this loud voice. I think it's because of its beak, but I'm not sure yet. I'd never come across such a question, but I'd look for that. What an awesome question. Oh, we have our bird here. We are lucky. It's birding today while we're looking at Hosanna. Davi, yes, are you going to be okay there? Let's have a look. Hello, how are you? Looking for something? Oh, sorry. We are so unlucky today. That was a lilac-breasted roller. It has 7 colors in its body, and it's called a roller. Oh, lilac-breasted roller calls. Yo, they're so difficult, but I'll try. Arr, 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 arr. I'm not quite good with these deep, bold voices or calls. I'm mastering these soft calls, you know, like this, like a sunbird, white-bellied sunbird. I can do it like your bushrikes, like an orange-breasted bushrike there, your gray-headed bushrike. So the bush is quite this side. We are so lucky earlier on with Jamie. We saw the head of elephants drinking water, splashing themselves. But hopefully we won't drive far. We'll see something interesting. The weather is so chilled. It was so hot this morning. But after the short rain, it cooled down. Actually, let me stop and listen for something. Let me listen for the calls. Maybe we might be lucky to get some sewing call from Hosanna. Paula, what a nice question. Thank you for a question. You like to know what my best time I've been since I've been in the bush. Yeah, there's a lot. I had a lot of best time. My best time was my first time seeing avoca males. Yes, avoca males. What a big lions. And what amazed me about these lions, like this coalition, I thought they fought for their territory, but they didn't fight for anything here. They just found the place open because the B-boys left the area. So that was my best time, because in most cases we expect lions to fight for territory, to fight for mating rights, but nothing happened to them. And the other thing that I like about SafariLive is that you get so close to the animals. Just like with the elephants, with Jamie earlier on, those elephants were so close, about 6 to 10 meters from the vehicle. So these are my best moments since I'm here. Oh, impalas. I nearly missed you guys because I was looking at the camera. Sorry. Davisito, are you going to be okay there? It's right behind the pole. Move away from the pole, please. You can see this is a young chap taking a poo there while feeding. That's weird. I can't do that. Just imagine. These are young chaps you can see over here. They are above 14 to 16 months, because you can see the first curve of these horns. They have survived in this place. They are so lucky to survive until this time, because we have Hosanna, Tingana, Hukumuri, Nkanyeni, we have Tandi. They've been crazy these days, killing left, right, center. So you can see his ears wide open, his head is right up and scanning the area. Hello. You've survived for so long, hey? You can see his breathing is so fast. Maybe he was running or he was doing some aerobics. So let's go to David and see what he has for us. Maybe he has something who might eat these impalas.
Well, I decided to reposition myself, and the girls also have repositioned themselves. They left the cubs and they have come to a different area and much closer to where we were. And that's one of the females lying down there. And you might think they're different lionesses than what we were watching before, or we have gone to a different world. It's just because it has got a little bit dark here, and we have gone to infrared. So we use a different camera that's called infrared camera that does not shine any artificial light to this beautiful cat. And that was a nightjar. If you saw a bird just flying there on the face of that one lioness, it was a nightjar. Now, infrared makes us come pretty close to the animals without interfering with their behavior. And for those of you who could be joining us now, these are two girls from the Olololo Pride. There's one there, and there's the other one. So this one got 3 cubs that are just about 10 days old. So what would happen is, it's very typical for lions to nap, to sleep. Nothing out of the ordinary, but the area they have come to is more open than where they were before, and chances are they might chance to catch something for themselves this night. Well, remember, should you have any questions or comments, you may send them through #SafariLive on Twitter. We are always very interactive, and when we hear from you, you give us lots of joy. The Olololos went together 16 in number, but now with the 3 new additions, we are talking of 19. Could be one of the largest prides that I know of in Africa currently. 19 is a big number by any standard. So she's looking in a particular direction, and maybe chancing of anything that could be passing, because they got very good vision, much better than I would say the prey or the animals they hunt. Jaja, would you like to know how long these cubs would nurse before they introduced to meat? As early as 3-4 weeks. As early as 3-4 weeks, they are comfortable and they would start eating meat. There's another particular pride that I follow that's called the sausage tree, and I saw those cubs at the age of slightly bit less than a month. They had started nibbling meat. So even these ones here, I will not be surprised if they start eating meat. Now let's assume that 10 days. Towards the end of this month, I'll tell you, they should be good to go to start eating meat. But sometimes you see some authority will say 3 months before they start eating meat. But I've seen as young as 4 weeks, 3 weeks going to 4 weeks. A lot of flies there of cubs starting or getting introduced to meat by their mothers. So, there are so many flies on that particular lioness there, and I'm not sure what they would be trying to get, but of course the lioness itself has a lot of warmth in it, so that's one. And sometimes they also try to dig into the skin of this cat to get some warmth, but ideally they would tend to stay in the fur and try and harbor themselves there maybe for the night and get the warmth. The good news is these flies do not affect, I don't think, I'm not sure, they affect the lioness. You say these flies would drive you nuts. I agree with you 100%. You'd imagine if you count early there could be like what, maybe 100 plus. But the good news is these flies are not going to the mouth or to the face of the lioness, because if they do that, they could be very irritating. We imagine Ellie, the nose, you imagine them getting into your eyes. So they always tend to tag along on the skin, and whether they are able to suck or to benefit anything on top of the skin, who knows. But I would say more they enjoy the warmth of this particular cat here. So again, as I said, we're in black and white because we're already infrared. We are always 1 hour ahead of South Africa. They could still be in color, and we are definitely on different time zones. You can see the black on behind the ears, which sometimes lions have used as follow me sign. When her cubs will get big and she'll start walking them through the savanna grass, the cubs may have to look either on the tip of her tail or on that black patches behind her ears. And once they're able to see that, they'll be guaranteed they're still following mama. The last kill they made was told by my friend. They brought down a warthog, and that is 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. So chances are for a nursing lioness, tomorrow latest, or maybe tonight, they should be going for another kill, be it a warthog, but I'm sure they should be going for another kill. She needs to nurse a lot because she needs to keep up with the pace of those 3 cubs. They look so healthy, bouncing around. So I'm sure they have a big demand on her, on how much milk they will suckle from this particular mother. Well, Tristan, the leopard whisperer, I'm sure he's working very hard. He's trying to whisper, and I'm sure before long he might now start shouting for the leopards.
Well, we are at the moment. So what happened was we were sitting and all of a sudden heard guinea fowls calling, and it's a tricky one at this time of the year because the guinea fowls alarm call and their kind of breeding call is almost one and the same thing, and it becomes very tricky to know whether they're not. But it's in an area where both Thandi and Hosanna disappeared this morning, and so I'm wondering if it maybe wasn't for them. There's also a presence of quite a few vultures. So there's one vulture that's sitting on my left-hand side here, and then there's another 3 behind me. So those also could have caused the guinea fowls to get a little kind of funny about things and to get a bit sort of worried as to what's going on. But there you can see it's just trying to cool down, this white-backed vulture. It's got its wings open slightly, just trying to catch a bit of a breeze in order just to get all that body heat out, particularly under where the wings are. They'll often sit like this when they're incredibly warm, and to try and just kind of cool themselves down. The problem is the presence of vultures is not indicative of a carcass, even though it sounds kind of contrary to what most people believe. But 4 white-backed vultures or 3 white-backed vultures, whatever it may be, they are not ones that are too kind of trustworthy when it comes to being able to find a carcass. If they are in if they are in a group with hooded vultures and tawnies and battalias, then yes, most certainly there will be something dead very close by there. But often what happens, particularly when you get a storm like has blown through this evening, is that they start to think that they're going to get wet, and so they land, and then another one will land, and another one will land, and they kind of form this little grouping there. It's quite common to see groups of white-backed vultures in the same spot when there's bad weather, or sometimes even at night. So they just all kind of see each other, and then they come down to investigate, and it's too late then to take off and use any more thermals to go search for food, and so that's where they rest. So it could be that. It also could be, I suppose it could be that there is a carcass, but in my experience, most of the time that you find these guys, generally it's nothing there. It's just them kind of waiting it out. And we know the sun is going to be setting shortly, which means that these guys don't really want to be flying too much at this stage. Now, the birds that are accompanying them are starlings. You may be able to just hear them in the background. They look like greater blue-ears. I think they could be Cape Glossies from this direction, could even be Birchells. It's tricky because it's just a silhouette that we're working with, and the tail looks a bit short though for the Birchell starling, so I would imagine either greater blue-eared or glossy, one of the two of them. But very, very hot vulture, that's for sure. Shame, it must be quite warm. Now, right, that's interesting. There's a hyena that's just appeared as well, which is good news. So Lawrence spotted that. I wonder if the hyena is also coming because of the calls of these guinea fowl. Let's follow this hyena in and just see. The vultures, most of them are on this side as well. You never know. This hyena might take us to either a den site or, particularly, you never know, maybe even Hosanna or Thandi. There, leopard, yes, yes. Yes. Yeah. This is why the hyena was here. So following those, yes, there's a big carcass. Oh my goodness, it's Hosanna, and he's killed a massive kudu. Look at this. It's a huge kudu that he's... Yeah, so that goes and kind of blows everything out the water, that of what I was saying earlier. Now poor Hosanna is going to lose a massive meal. Isn't that incredible that he's brought down a kudu of that size? Absolutely amazing. How cool is this? And there Hosanna is lying just in front of us. He's over there. Hello, boy. Well done on your kill, though. Now, it was worth us for investigating those guinea fowl and stopping for the vultures, and as we said, following hyena might bring us to where we are now. So I'm just going to move a little bit so I can try and get a better view of Hosanna. But this is a big adult kudu that he's managed to bring down. He's got a huge kudu female that's here. So, I mean, you look at the size of that carcass in relation to that hyena. That is a massive meal. So you can just see now that Hosanna is really starting to get into his adulthood phase. I mean, to be able to bring down an animal of that size takes huge amounts of strength. And this, I mean, I don't think it's something that just died. If you look at the throat there, now if you're a bit squeamish, I do apologize, you see that there are bite marks to the throat. So I would imagine that he actually killed this rather than, you know, thinking that it died of natural causes and he scavenged. There's definite bite marks to that throat itself. But unfortunately for him, this hyena is going to eat you, and this might attract the attention of others. The interesting thing is to be whether or not Corky or Pretty arrive here and whether they can then potentially move off towards wherever their den may be. We can follow them. Now, the one on Little Gowrie, we still haven't received confirmation of who's there. I am of the belief it's still June is on that side, and that Corky and Pretty might still be our side, but you never know. It's obviously a little bit tricky, but that hyena is going to go to town. Poor Hosanna, I'm sorry, my boy, you're losing your kill, but there's enough meat here that I'm pretty sure he is going to be able to get some of it back. Now, we're just going to go forward for Hosanna quickly. I'm trying to see if I can position that we can see both. So, Sinak, no, I don't think so. I'm just trying to get a little forward. There's a big stump. Oh, shame, my boy. Are you full and hot? Yes, you are. I'm so glad we found him, though. It was worth being patient and kind of looking around for those guinea fowls and then following the various different kind of vultures. And then the hyena was the one that really kind of sealed the deal. And so really good news that we did. But you can see he's fed a lot. That's why he's panting so much. He's super hot at the moment. The thing is with this meal is that with the hyena, the risk of running in there and trying to chase him off is going to obviously mean that he might get himself badly hurt. He might get a bite to the arm, to the leg or the foot, and that will mean that he can't actually hunt anymore. But if he just lets this hyena feed, and this hyena will eat itself to oblivion, its tummy will get massive, and if no other hyenas arrive here, there will be more than enough for Hosanna to steal and take up into a tree and that he can feed off. So he's got a full belly. There's possibility he can regain the meal, and so actually going after this hyena is too risky for him. He can also then go and hunt again at some point and find another kind of meal, and so, you know, this whole kind of carcass and hyenas and the risk involved is just too much for him. So you'd rather just kind of wait for the hyena to finish. But the crunching this hyena is making is most certainly going to be kind of bring about probably other hyenas, and that's going to lead to, unfortunately, him probably losing quite a bit of it. It depends obviously where the rest of them are. Kevin, he is a fat boy, and he's kind of looking a little bit on the sort of hot and full side at the moment. Shame. I suppose he's been eating so well lately, and it's amazing to see how his shoulders have developed. I finally can see him close by, because, you know, the sightings I've had of him recently have been inside Torchwood, and we weren't able to access it at the time due to the landowners being there. And so, you know, this is the first time I've actually got up close to Hosanna, and it really is nice to see him. He's looking seriously good, and what an epic way to spend our afternoon. Now we're going to have the best time, because this is one is going to bring about interaction between him and hyenas, and two, I'm hoping that at some point he's going to be able to steal this away, go up into a tree, maybe even now with this golden light. Although he looks about as lazy as you could ever imagine right now. It doesn't look like he really wants to challenge anything. I think he's just battling the heat and the full stomach at the moment. But well done, boy. That's a very big meal for you. You've done very, very well. Now, if he was, a lot of you are asking about hoisting of a kudu cow of this size. So no, unfortunately for Hosanna, he wouldn't be able to hoist this. It's going to be too heavy for him. It probably weighs double what he does. But the thing is that if the hyenas start to eat away at it and he can get a piece of it, then yes, you know, if it's the front legs or the head and neck or maybe a bit of something, he might be able to get up into a tree and utilize it. So hyenas might do him a little bit of a service now and be able to help him in some ways. It'll be interesting, though, to kind of see how it all works out in the end. I reckon that he's going to probably wait for a while and wait for the hyena to have its full before he kind of comes in and investigates and even thinks about challenging it. Now the hyena is dragging this carcass at the moment. Why it's dragging it from under the bush, I don't know, but Hosanna must have really kind of had a tough day. To drag this carcass must have taken serious power, and I'm actually trying to look around to see where he could have dragged it from, but he dragged it underneath a bush, and now the hyena is trying to kind of slowly but surely drag it out. Unfortunately, we're obscured. If we have a view of Hosanna, we can't really see the kill very well. The kind of layout between him and the kill at the moment is not very good at all. So unfortunately, I can try go back a little bit if we just sacrifice Hosanna's view for a few seconds, and we'll try and kind of get a better view of the hyenas quickly. And it's tricky. Oh. Hold on, nonsense. Let me just get back here a little bit. So there we go there. You can see, look how the hyena is trying to drag this, and even that hyena is struggling to be able to pull this carcass. But what you will find is eventually other hyenas are going to come around. This thing's making so much noise, crunching on bones and various other things. Actually, here comes Hosanna. So let's just get back a little bit. I just want to move back so that Hosanna doesn't have a blocked view, and neither does the hyena. So there we go. That should be enough space for them to kind of see each other. But he's now laid down once again and is just watching what's going on. You can see Hosanna's not fed much at all. He's opened that stomach cavity and he's fed off that rump area. I wonder if maybe she didn't have a fetus that he's already eaten, if he's so full, because Jamie said to me this morning that he's quite hungry and that he's looking kind of for food. And so if he was very hungry, the size of his tummy now would mean he's eaten a little bit more than what I see there. Now, I wish we had something called smell-o-vision, because it would be interesting for you guys to smell this. There's a very pungent odor that is coming out right now as this hyena is feeding. I think it's punctured that stomach cavity at the moment, and so you've got the smell of rumen that is very, very strong, mixed with the smell of blood. And it's a smell that I can only describe as something that you kind of smell when you find carcasses out in the wild. It's a weird smell. It's that smell before the meat goes kind of bad and starts to stink like rotting meat. It's a kind of more bloody, grassy, processed grass smell. It's a weird kind of smell, but one that you'll always find when you find fresh carcasses. But how cool is that? It just goes to show sometimes you've got to kind of trust your instincts a little bit. I was unconvinced by the guinea fowl, and we saw them kind of walking away, and I was not sure. And then I thought, well, let's just stop for the vultures. And then luckily Lauren spotted the hyena, and following the hyena, and led to good instincts, and well, we ended up with a cool sighting, which is very, very cool indeed. Do you want me to reverse back a bit? Senzo is asking me to reverse back a little bit more, so I'm going to do that. One must do what one is told. When Kamops speak, guides have to listen, and so when the Kamops speak, I always just try and listen to what they've got to say. It actually is better. Well done, Senzo, because we can see Hosanna better and we can see the hyena better. So here you go. And like I say, if you are squeamish, it's probably a good time to look away, because as hyena, they eat very differently to leopards. Leopards are more meticulous and almost surgeon-like in the way that they feed, whereas these guys just tear into the carcass. And it's a shame, obviously, that this kudu is down and has been killed. But remember, this is the way things go, and this is really kind of part of life out here. Unfortunately, predators have to eat, and so both these carnivores are going to be benefiting from this. Good. We'll sit here with these two. We're going to call it in so that other vehicles can come. And in the meantime, though, let's send you back across to Oli so he can say hello and show you a little thing that he's got.
Well done, Tristan. Well done. Look what we have here, this squirrel. Look at the body posture. This squirrel is so freezing, shaking. It's because it had a tragedy that happened not long ago by their community member who died, killed by the spotted cat. Before we stopped here, we had two squirrels here. They were talking about that issue. As you can see, the eyes are wide open, the ears, and then they were like, we have to be be extra careful. So that's what I think they were talking about. So this is a squirrel. I think that one who went down, it's its mate, because no squirrels, they love to mate at all times. Every time they get a chance, they love to mate. So I think they have a den, but I can't say that a den. Oh, a nest. Sorry about that. They have a nest around here because there's a tree here that is dead, and then there might be a hole because the one went down, and then I didn't see where it went after that. So I think it went to a hole there. And they're so quiet, sitting still there. Yes, Deep, I'm also happy to see a squirrel. These are such amazing creatures that will tell us about what's happening around the area, if there's a raptor, a snake, or a cat. Oh, these poles always on Davi's way. Sorry about that. Why don't you go and rest? Because maybe you might be safe and you might feel okay there inside your nest. Or maybe he's waiting for the mate to come back. Must I leave you? Must I look at you? Oh, I think he's crying now. You have a right to mourn because you lost a community member, man. I can imagine the feeling. Sorry about that. Davisito, let's leave this guy because you can see it's so heartbroken. Let's move forward and see what else we can find because Hosanna has been found. I'm sure Tristan is enjoying the sighting. Just let's go back to Tristan and see what is happening because the hyena is there.
We are indeed very excited. It's always nice when you find a leopard. We know that I have a problem and it's an addiction, and I'm not really apologetic about it at all, really, in terms of spending vast quantities of my time watching leopards and trying to look for them. But when it all comes together, and especially when you're kind of staring down the barrel a little bit and thinking to yourself, well, I'm not really sure where they could be, and there were no tracks that we could find at all kind of around this area. Jamie drove around a lot. Aubrey was in this area, and it just took, and funny enough actually how this all happened is that I stopped and I was waiting actually to try and head towards the southern boundary as it started to get cooler and the sun was setting for the wild dogs. So I thought I'll just stop and take a little walk along the drainage line on Elephant Carcass because it's an area where Tundi loves to hang out, and I wasn't necessarily looking for Hosanna. I was trying to kind of see if I could find any tracks for Tundi. So I walked all the way along from Weaver's Nest towards Twin Dams and then came back along that drainage. Lots and lots of elephant tracks, and as I was walking kind of halfway, I heard these guinea fowls start and then kind of came along and quickly ran back towards the car. Jumped in the car and asked Senzo how long they had been calling for, and he said no, for a while. So then we came along and we drove up Elephant Carcass and we found the guinea fowls and they looked quite relaxed. So I thought maybe not, and then I thought well let's just check up on Weaver's Nest in case he had seen this kind of leopard and they had then just gone the opposite direction. So that was the idea, was to just come and check Weaver's Nest if there was anything, and then we obviously got linked to and there was a vulture, and so I thought I'd just watch that for a little bit, and then as things play out, that's how it kind of went. So lots and lots of luck really is involved when finding animals, particularly at this time of the year. It's very, very tricky tracking animals, and we didn't find many tracks at all when it came to kind of looking for actual physical footprints. But the thing is about tracking, particularly in the summer months, is you stop using footprints as much. I mean, obviously they are hugely vital, but you also need to start then using a lot of the sounds around, particularly because the bush gets so thick that sound becomes your friend, and with so many birds around, migratory birds and the likes, this helps you to be able to hear if there's something going on. So guinea fowls, and subsequently since we've been sitting here, I've heard rattling cisticola, redneck, well, Swainson spur fowls have also been around making a bit of a noise, and so there's a few birds that have kind of actually given this away more than anything else. And now with the hyena actually calling, well, eating, it's making a lot of noise. Puma, I'm not sure actually. I was just thinking the exact same thing. I'm not sure if it's maybe the tail part or a broken sort of section, but you're asking if there's a leg of an unborn fetus that is poking out the back of the kudu. Now I apologize, we are going to zoom in so I can see what's going on there. I don't know, to be honest. It very much looks like it, doesn't it? Is it the tail or is it the fetus that's poking out? No, well, that's a bit of, yeah, it looks like a fetus maybe that's going to come out there, I'm afraid. So, like I say, if you are very squeamish, probably now is the time to look away a lot. This is part and parcel of this time of the year, I'm afraid, is that there are fetuses that are inside a lot of these females, and unfortunately they get eaten. And so I think we're not going to dwell on that too much. We'll probably leave that image alone. We don't really kind of want to see little baby kudus being pulled out of their mothers. It's not always the most pleasant thing, and it will explain why Hosanna is so full. I wonder if he hasn't eaten the kind of front side of that fetus. Often when leopards feed on carcasses, they'll open out that stomach area, pull out some of the stomach content, and if there is a fetus, they begin to feed on that, and maybe he's fed off. Remember, because a kudu fetus, if it's that well developed, will mean that he's probably eaten quite a bit already, and maybe he ate the front portion, and unfortunately there's just a leg kind of left in there. But it's always very, very sad when you see that, and a lot of people often ask, well, then why do we sit here and watch this? And there's a very simple reason for it, is that we follow these animals daily, day in, day out, trying to get small little slices of their life and build up a kind of viewing of what it's like to be a leopard and the struggles and of hyenas, leopards and kudu, and what these animals endure from a day-to-day basis. And part of that is having cubs, having young, watching them in glorious light, being playful, and other times is the more kind of gory side of things, which is something like this, where an animal unfortunately has been killed when it's got a formed fetus, and the eating of the carcass and the interaction between hyena and leopard is something that really kind of is part of nature, and it's an intriguing part of it. It's a part where watching these two predators size each other up and work out what they're going to do and see how kind of the different feeding patterns are of each of these helps us to better understand these animals. And it's like I say, it's just part of nature. It's the hard part of it for sure, but it is that part that we can't censor everything that we see, unfortunately. Now, this poor kudu is being mangled by this hyena, and you can see hyenas eat very differently to the way that a leopard would. I mean, ears are often a delicacy for most of the predators. They will get eaten quite quickly, and especially the front of the face. Right, from the macabre, we're going to send you back to Ngwadi, who has apparently got a silver lining for the afternoon.
Everyone be ready to take the screenshots, please. What we're seeing here, it's so magical, beautiful, and amazing. The sky is crazy today. And look at those clouds here. And what you can see there in the picture, this bird that's perching there, it's called an armor falcon. It's a migratory bird, a summer visitor. It arrives here around early spring, and it will leave around April, May. It goes back to India side. And this bird, it's like a kestrel, and what's so interesting about this bird is that it mainly feeds on insects, but it can go for lizards. It's more like a raptor that loves insects. And I'm listening to the sounds also. Maybe you might hear something alarming like a squirrel, antelopes, monkeys, or baboons. Yes, Yvonne, this is beautiful indeed. I don't mind sitting here for forever until it gets dark. And look at that head. These clouds. Would you zoom back a bit, David? Yeah, just there. Can you see this one cloud on top of that other one? It's more like a Chakma baboon's face or head. See this one?
It really does.
Like two baboons facing or looking at the sunset. Yeah. This is beautiful. This is magic. This is one of the reasons I love the sundowner. Amazing, hey? Davisita, take a screenshot. Take out your phone and take a screenshot, buddy. Please. magic. Let's move forward and see whether we can spot any. Yes, let's go to David while witnessing what we're seeing right in the sky.
Very good, exciting, seeing clouds that look like two baboon heads. Well, if these two lionesses here, well, definitely not one, they could come together, I would try and look how their heads would look like. The Olololo girls decided to go flat, sleep, and because they know their cubs, wherever they are in that particular den, they entered, they're happy and just sleep. They also thought to do the same. The only difference is the wind has picked up a little bit more than before, and I was wondering if just to allow these girls to continue enjoying their evening without any disturbance. And should they move, I guess they might decide to go somewhere and maybe look for some food for themselves. Who knows? And I was thinking they might be moving away and go get something for themselves to eat. So what I want to do is just leave these lionesses here. As I said, the Olololo always have 16 members, with the addition of 319 now, and maybe I could be lucky to bump into any of the rest that are not here. So what I will do, I'll try and get a huge calf because they're very close to me, and let them enjoy their evening, and we'll see them definitely tomorrow morning. All right. Thank you, girls, for having been so nice to us. And at least we had a nice chance to see you cubs, which are quite special. And it's so good to have new cubs at the beginning of the year. And as I said, I'm looking at them being born. Let me just first switch off my light. I don't want to blind one of those girls there. So what she normally do at night, we'll drive and switch on our lights like that. If we see something interesting, we switch them off, and then we use the infrared. Lara, I'll tell you what lions have been habituated into. They have learned to respect us because we have respected them more than us. The only challenge at night is when people will shine any artificial light to them. And if you look ahead of me now, and when I shine my spotlight like that, that is very strong light. You see that? That's very strong light. That's not what we want to do to any animal, not only lions. Lions are pretty sensitive, and in general most cats, and especially those two females we've been watching there for the last 1 hour or so, they got 3 small little cubs like that. So we'd want to respect them and just make sure we don't shine anything very bright onto their faces. But even at night, they know, or they have been used to us being respectful and keeping our distances from them. So it's time now to use my spotlight and looking for anything in the grass or outside the grass, on the road, on top of trees like that. Sometimes you see owls on top of trees. And when I talk of the road, I'll be talking of scrub hares, or maybe other birds like nightjars, which might come to get a bit of warmth from the ground. Hopefully I'll be lucky, but I think the person who is much luckier than me is the one who have the chief of Juma.
Well, I suppose we have been lucky, haven't we? You know, often we talk about kind of finding animals and things like that, and 90%, well, not 90%, but a very big portion of it is luck when it comes to finding animals and just being at the right place at the right time. It would have taken a very long time until somebody spotted this cat had we not kind of been here when the guinea fowls called. And so, you know, there's a bit of very big luck involved in being, like I say, at the right place at the right time. Now Hosanna is still sitting kind of watching what's going on. This hyena is absolutely mangling this carcass. It's kind of gone from the back end to the middle and is now onto the head itself, and the head is being absolutely destroyed. It's kind of, yeah, not going well. He's trying to get into the brain casing at the moment. I say he because I'm pretty sure it's a male hyena. Not 100% sure which one it is. Lauren and I were just discussing who it could be. She has, well, we both have a lot of the hyena sort of spot patterns on our phones, and the closest we kind of came to was Luca, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not convinced yet. Many of you who are much better with hyenas than what I am, that's for sure, will be able to maybe help us which exact hyena this is. Unfortunately, it's one of the boys, which means that we're not going to be kind of getting Corky or Pretty here, but, you know, one of them might arrive with the sound of feeding, and that might then get us, you know, some sort of view of where they come from and which way their den might be. The interesting thing about this is I've been looking around quite carefully to try and see, can I see a drag mark anywhere for any sign of where this kudu may have been dragged from? And it hasn't been dragged at all. And so I think with the position of that leg kind of coming out of the back end there, which we're not going to zoom into too close, we'll keep it kind of wide on it. But I wonder if this female wasn't sitting pretty much where she is right now, and she was busy giving birth, and Hosanna saw the opportunity and managed to get her while she was giving birth. That would make the most sense to me. And you know, maybe she was having even a struggle with giving birth, and that's why she was weakened, and he took an opportunity to be able to grab it and kind of grab this kudu. But no matter any way you look at it, a kudu is a big animal, it is a strong animal, and so for Hosanna to bring it down is a very special thing. He's done a very good job. We know Tumba's done it before, and obviously there's many other leopards, but this is kind of, I think, is this probably one of the biggest kills we've seen him take? I would imagine so. I can't seem to remember anything bigger than this that he's had. I mean, I know he had the baby buffalo, but in terms of weight, I'd imagine that this kudu is much heavier, heaviest carcasses that I've seen him eat, and Kirst agrees with me. Kirst has obviously seen a lot of drives that I haven't been a part of, and so she agrees that this could very well be one of the biggest kind of carcasses that he's brought down, which is, I suppose, another milestone in this very, very short life of little Hosanna, who's done, I suppose he's not little anymore, but he's really been an incredible leopard to have followed over the past few years. Exactly. So there we go, Crystal. You agree with me that it looks close to Luca, but it doesn't match, and you don't know who this hyena is either. So that's interesting. Crystal knows hyenas probably probably the best. I wouldn't say the best. I mean, there's obviously a lot of people out there, but Crystal is probably one of the better ones when it comes to hyenas, and she really does help us a lot with IDs and getting kind of information on them. And so when she says that it's not Luca and she doesn't recognize it, then you must know that's probably in all likelihood it's a hyena that maybe we haven't seen much of before, if at all. Hosanna, you're now turning your back in disgust. He's just kind of rolled over and just turned away completely, as if to say, I can't watch this. They're eating my food. I just don't want to watch it anymore. I'm going to just pretend like it's not even happening. And you're going to say hello to us, rather. Hello, boy. Happy New Year. It's been a long time, and you've been naughty because you haven't come and seen me. Yes, you should bow your head in shame. You know, you can see, he almost looks like he's being told off. Yes, I'm talking to you. You've been naughty. You've been nowhere near what you, man. You've been hiding. And I'm not surprised. If you keep eating these kind of things, then it's no wonder we haven't found him much at all. But anyway, it's good that we've caught up with him. I can't believe how big his shoulders have gotten. That's probably the biggest change that I've seen in him since I last kind of spent time with him in October. So, Minamu, most definitely, predators will intentionally prey upon pregnant female antelope. There's a study that was done on impalas, and there's most definitely a percentage increase when the impalas are pregnant. They're slower, they are heavier, so not only is it that they a little bit easier to catch in that they are slower. Don't forget they in some ways will be slightly weaker too, because that fetus is going to be drawing energy from them as they go about their day. And the third thing is that there's actually more nutrition per kind of effort used. So if you think of a leopard or wild dogs or whatever, they've got to hunt, and whether they hunt a baby impala, a pregnant female, or a adult male, it takes the same real kind of energy in terms of the hunt and stalk. Obviously when they actually get onto the animal, there's a lot more kind of power that's needed in order to bring down an adult impala as opposed to a baby, but still there's that stalking and running process that takes place. And so targeting pregnant animals, whether or not they can discern how pregnant they are, is obviously quite tricky, but definitely when animals are bigger and swollen, you know, a leopard will be able to, or a lion or a wild dog will probably be able to see that. Wild dogs are a little bit different because they're just pandemonium hunters and they'll take whatever comes their way, but leopard and lions and cheetah, which selectively target certain animals within a herd, will definitely notice pregnant ones, as opposed to, you know, those that are not, and target them. And they, like I said, there's a correlation between how many pregnant females are hunted during that season before the birthing takes place, and then obviously it starts to become a lot more young animals that get hammered when they are born, because they are, you know, weaker, again, easier to catch, and so you'll find that a lot of baby animals are gone after. But it is amazing how much hyenas can eat. You know, I've just been sitting here watching this hyena, and it has gobbled down mountains of food already, and yet that stomach is not exactly hugely swollen. While it is swollen, it's not massive yet, and I mean, it's literally eaten most of the internal organs. It's now completely destroyed. That head is getting into the neck muscle now, and so soon it's going to have eaten pretty much all of this, and there'll be very little kind of left of that neck. And I wonder how much more space they can actually fit in. You'll find with hyenas, though, there's this process. It's slowing down, definitely. Look at that. You can kind of see panting that's taking place. It might also be just listening out in case maybe some other hyenas or other predators are on their way in. You'll find if Tingana arrived here, this hyena would run very, very fast and try and move out, because Tingana is that much bigger and bulkier, and with the presence of two leopards, he might get a bit nervous and move away. We saw that the last time we saw Hosana and Tingana on a kill, which was, well, the last time I did, which was when they stole Tundi's kill that night, and they managed to kind of, you know, Hosana was bullied a little bit off the carcass and fed with hyena, whereas the hyena did not want anything to do with Tingana, and he could run in and kind of grab it. Now, there's only very few leopards that I've seen hoist kills this size, and funnily enough, Tingana is one of them. He's hoisted, I mean, maybe not quite as big as this, but I have seen him hoist a wildebeest carcass that was about this size, and then I've seen Kashan male. He's hoisted a kudu of this size, and there was Campan, who also hoisted an animal of this size. So those are the kind of few. I've never seen Anderson do it. I mean, we know he's hoisted baby giraffes before, but you know, this is an animal that's size that would really only be for the biggest males to be able to take up. James, indeed. So this is definitely Hosana's biggest meal, and we were referring back towards Tamba, as we were saying earlier, that he has brought down also a adult kudu that was pregnant, and he was actually much younger than what Hosana is now. So that was an even more impressive feat from little Tamba, who was, you know, often deemed to be the slightly smaller of the two. I think Tamba is going to be an absolute monster in comparison to many other leopards. I saw some photos of him, and he's looking so good. I'm just sad that he's as far away as he is. It kind of breaks my heart in some degree. I was really hoping that I'd get a few more glimpses of him, and, you know, hope that he was going to come back this side. But unfortunately, it hasn't proved to be that way. Hopefully one day, you never know, maybe I'll get to see him at some point. You never know what can happen, but he is an incredible animal, and both these young males have really kind of taken to life as adult individuals really well. I mean, if you think about, you know, the fact that both of them were left at very young ages. I mean, Tamba slightly older than what Hosana was when Karula disappeared, but both of them to have survived in a leopard dense environment where there's a lot of males around and a lot of competition, and to be able to find food and hunt as successfully as they have and bring down big meals like they have with regular ability has really been a testament to the mothering of both of those individuals. So, you know, Karula, and that then goes kind of towards Karula as a center pivot point, and maybe even her grandmother Safari, who was also an incredible hunter, that ability and technique has been passed down through those generations, and the mothers have been very successful in raising incredibly gifted youngsters in terms of hunting and surviving, which is really, really good in many respects. So hopefully it will continue. Now, in terms of IDing this hyena, I think if we look, for me, on the side of this hyena, there's a very big 7. So if you can go to the sort of belly area, go along a little bit there. It doesn't look as prominent now when you kind of there, but there are 3 spots that go along, and then there's a sort of line that comes down. It almost looks like a 7 on the side. So that maybe will be able to help us going forward when we see this particular individual, as to be able to kind of work out. It's a rough 7, but you can see that there is a 7 on the side. Maybe we should call it 7 for now. Anyway, while we kind of sit with these two, we're going to see what's going to play out. We're going to see if any more hyenas are going to arrive, or if Hosana is going to play tug of war and try and get his carcass back. In the meantime, back to Ncoli, who's got, well, a Franklin that led us to be able to find these guys.
I'm with this chicken here. I call these Swainson's Spearfowls chickens because they more look like chickens. It's on a termite mound. It's busy calling, telling other birds that it's time to sleep, birdie. This is wonderful. It's my first time seeing a bird on top of a termite mound. Can you hear the other birds calling on the side, but this one is having this nice view over here, scanning around for any predator that might put this bird in danger. Listen to that. It's time to sleep. I'm sure this one, it feels like a champion there when it's on top there. Maybe that's its throne. I think I must come back here often. Maybe this is one of the best spots around this time. I will see this guy often. I hope so. Yes, indeed, the king of the castle. But that castle is owned by the termites, not you. You have to go to a tree and patch there. I can't mimic that. I'm sure it's so frustrated because normally these birds, they live in pairs. I must try, but yeah, it is gonna be difficult to try one. Oh, maybe this bird is calling because that's his out of 10 from Kirsten FC. Thank you for that. I think he's frustrated now because I can't see the mate, and maybe he's trying to locate the other member because they live in pairs. That's a nice view. Yeah, I'm getting nice views this afternoon than getting spotted cats. No, I won't mimic you again. Never. And it's so easy to identify this bird because you can see the face is red and the feathers are brown. So while this bird is saying good night to us, let's go to Tristan and see what Hosana is up to.
Well, the Spearfowl said goodnight, and you can see that that hyena has pulled the fetus out now. So that's the fetus that is unfortunately being eaten. It seems like quite a well-developed fetus, but we're not going to go too kind of close in. Like I say, it's gory and macabre and not really needed in order to kind of be seen. It's one of those things, unfortunately, with nature, and we don't really need a close-up of a little baby kudu being eaten out of its mother's stomach. It's not very pleasant at all. But anyway, what I'm hoping is going to happen is the hyena is going to eat that, and that particular animal is going to be soft and pliable and edible, and kind of eat that and maybe carry that off and leave this carcass here, and then Hosana can get his carcass back. It's getting to that time of day where other hyenas are certainly going to be moving around and sniffing about, and hearing these crunching bones might then call them in a little bit. But what I do want to show you is, since if you can just go up into, oh wait, hold on, Hosana's kind of sticking closer, so we're going to, oh no, he's going to lie down right there, of course he is. And I was going to just show there are hundreds and hundreds of Amur falcons coming straight over our heads at the moment, which is absolutely amazing. There's just one after another that's just kind of flying through the air, which is absolutely beautiful to see against a kind of backdrop like that. Now unfortunately my car is going to be a little bit in the way, so I'm going to just reverse back a little bit for you Sens quickly. Sorry guys, it's just the bumper is in the way a little bit, which is not that pleasant, so we're just going to go back. There we go, it'll be a little bit better, won't it? Yes. But what an epic way to finish our afternoon. I did not expect to find Hosana on such a big kill. I don't think he's going to do too much to really go after this just yet. I think he's going to wait for this hyena to finish off, and then he's going to try and see what's left and whether or not he can then get it up into a tree or try and hide it away. But he's got a very little chance, I'm afraid, with sort of night closing in. The hyenas are eventually going to kind of get to the point where they are going to have eaten, and, well, they're going to attract others, and he's probably then going to lose it, I'm afraid. But we'll see, you know, the morning will bring out what's going to happen. But it is that time, like I say, where we're going to start heading home. We're going to get for dinner and see what there is there. I'm sure it will be something delicious. But it's been, well, a wonderful afternoon, from David having all the luck and perseverance to be able to find those little lion cubs, to Hosana on his kill. It's been excellent. So from all of us, it's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll also see you tomorrow morning on the Sunrise Safari.